what do you say? Right? What do you say to that? What do you say to the game that we just saw? Okay? Like, how do you respond to that? How? Not only is that one of the worst losses I have seen in baseball, that's one of the worst losses I've seen in any sport. I mean, good God. Obviously, we're not going to write off the trade deadline acquisitions just off one game. That would be ridiculous. But it wasn't just that. You know, it's just like you go out, you score 12 runs, and that's not enough to win a game against the Marlins. The Marlins are 53 and 55. They're actually not even good at home. I don't even know a team that's bad at home. Who's bad at home? Like, they're bad at home. So, really frustrating. Anthony Bednar, we were talking about, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. The Yankees apparently wanted him and Alcantara. Yeah, he just got a win giving up 2 earned runs. I mean, he was absolute dog shit. He got a win because they picked him up, and he was the last dude to be on the mound. It's really, really frustrating. I mean, 15 hits today for the Yankees, 3 home runs. The run game was great. 5 stolen bases, 5 for 9 with runners in scoring position. And you find a way to wet the sheets, as Gary always says. I don't know, man. I will say Rodon starts off. He has a no-hitter in the 5th inning. He goes from that. He walks 5 guys. And he doesn't walk to 5 guys. He walks 5 guys. And he gives up 4. They put in Loaizaga. Gary and I are texting each other like, is this actually happening? Like, you just got 3 new bullpen arms, and you put in Loaizaga. Then Hedrick comes in, and he's like, Hedrick, are we serious? And he looks like the best pitcher that took the mound today. After that, Jake Bird throws up a salami sandwich right down the plate. No idea what he was thinking. I mean, he literally could not locate to save his life. And then Bednar comes in. He gives up a home run. Sure enough, we find out, yeah, he's got a 7 ERA in this ballpark for God knows why. I'm sure he'll dominate everywhere else, but this is his kryptonite, apparently. And then Camilo Doval. I don't even feel like he was pitching that bad. He generates soft contact on Augustine Ramirez. I did also tweet out, I was like, I know how this movie ends. I knew Augustine Ramirez was going to get his win. Man, a walk-off dribbler right in front of the catcher. I mean, basically, without actually bunting, they did a suicide squeeze. So, today just sucked. It was a fun game, and then all of a sudden it wasn't a fun game. Because just because you scored 25 runs, I can't stress enough, that's not a good baseball game, okay? It might be entertaining. The Yankees were up 6-0. They were up 9-4. They were up 12-10. They had their opportunities. It was absolutely repulsive. And you know what? I can't blame Aaron Boone. You know why? I had some issues with what Boone did. These guys are grown men, okay? I don't think Caballero ever makes that play on the Rays for whatever reason. The Yankees, he made the play. Error, right? In the field. I agreed with them putting in Caballero to be the pinch runner for Ben Rice, knowing that Bellinger or Austin Slater could slide right in at first base. Caballero can play right field. But, of course, a base hit and Caballero lets it go by him. He has to run all the way to the wall. And the winning run is at third base. And it was just basically just a little single. It was just a base hit. Just a normal. He should have been at first. They still should have won this game. And they found a way to literally wrestle, defeat from the jaws of victory. It's frustrating, Gary. I hope I don't have to see this again in any sport this year. But I know how sports work, and I'm sure I will. And I'm just hoping it's not the Yankees again this year, because I can't take another one of these. I would have rather lost 13-1 than lost 13-12. That was absolutely brutal. So those are my thoughts.
Beautifully said. I'm going to say this about this Yankees team. I just feel like we're the type of group, and we did a lot at the deadline. I think if you look at the ratings, and I read every comment from our last video, we asked our audience to tell us, what do you think about that deadline? we didn't see very many A pluses, and the reason for that is that for those of you who are watching across the league, Mason Miller just pitched the 8th inning, right? And obviously they surrendered a ton to get him, but they had Miller Suarez, right? Top of the game, top flight arms. You're not going to worry about hanging sliders from perhaps a Bird, right? A Duvall, who obviously has control problems. You're sort of punting, having to deal with that by going at the top of the game. And there were a lot of people who said I would have given it an A plus if we had done that. Understandable. You can't sit up here and blame Boone. You can blame him for certain things that happened today. Johnny Lowe pitching first out of the bullpen is just absolutely blasphemous. It honestly reminds me a lot of just going trick-or-treating. When you go trick-or-treating and you have a full bag, you've got Skittles, Starbursts, Almond Joys, right? You've got Three Musketeers, whatever have you. You don't reach down and grab the candy corn. The candy corn goes right in the trash, or you just dig past it. And yet, somehow, some way, Jonathan Loaizaga, who you argued, Jake, actually pitched the best of most of the guys who came out of the bullpen tonight, and you're probably right. But it just felt like it set the tone. And I'm going to say this again, and this is my conclusion. Like you said, grown men. You can't be that bad. I don't care who's coaching. Being realistic, I couldn't be the manager. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I could be the manager of the Yankees, right? Jake and I can't be the manager. You can't just have anybody be the manager. But do you really need a great manager to throw the roster that we had out on the field today and beat the Miami Marlins, who were intending to sell this deadline? They were trying to get rid of Alcantara. They were trying to get rid of Cabrera at a high price. And you can't beat that team. One of the players was making his debut today. You can't win that game.
I didn't know half the roster. I like, who are these dudes? Like, who is this Sun Hoa? He went 3 for 5, Gary. There were like some random dudes like Marcy. Is that the dude that made his debut? Wagaman?
These are professional baseball players that are deserving of respect. However,
of course,
you're in the middle of I don't want to call it a pennant race, but we're talking about August 1st. All of the bad news bears type games that you're used to seeing in May, right? Maybe early July. Okay. But given the momentum Toronto loses earlier today, and you show up and play this type of baseball game, especially in winning time, for those of you who watched this entire game, we made so many mistakes. Uncharacteristic mistakes, cliche mistakes, right? Jason Dominguez in left field was just running like a chicken with his head cut off. He had no idea what he was doing out there today. Throwing to the wrong bases, not knowing how to jump out there at the wall. We had no idea what was going on. And again, it really sets the tone that we have a designated hitter, and there's nothing, I guess, technically wrong with it. There are plenty of players in baseball history who are just really good offensive players who are horrible defensively, right? You wouldn't just force David Ortiz over to first base for the next decade. You wouldn't do that, right? But the Yankees do. The Yankees currently need Giancarlo Stanton to DH. You saw a laser off the bat. He hit it 116. And I wanted to talk about all the positive. There's so much positive today. Anthony Volpe, huge positive, right? You give us 4 knocks, and this is the time of the year where you need that. Would I have liked to see this type of performance in May, in July, right? Yeah. But guess what, guys? This is the time when we're 3.5 games back of Toronto. They lose today. We need momentum. We need to take care of this series. Jake, you said we needed 2 of 3. He did everything you could do on the baseball field today, and we still somehow, some way, with a revamped bullpen, find a way to crap our pants. And it's just so disappointing because this group is just too talented to lose any game this way, let alone a game at this time.
No, you said it, very well. And the thing that is really frustrating, and you got to give, I want to start by giving credit to the Marlins, because while I was, kind of making a joke about who are these dudes, I know they're probably top prospects. They're probably actually pretty good, right? They're in the majors. We know that. But it's just more so, it's the frustration. You go up 6-0. Marlins fight their way back, make it a 6-4 ball game. Then it becomes a 9-4 ball game off the bat of Trent Grisham in the 7th inning. After that, Stowers has the grand slam, but it's what led to that. Okay, you're able to fight your way get the bases loaded, put yourself in position for your best hitter in the lineup. Stowers is one of the best hitters in baseball right now. I made that mention yesterday. He is fantastic.
What do you think of Bird's slider, by the way? I wanted to tee your dad up for his props. Your dad obviously wasn't. We also saw some people in the comment section who were not high on that pickup, right? And they were actually mentioning that your dad was over the target. Now, mind you, we're not going to draw definitive conclusions about players after one outing. But having said that, I mean, Jake, can you dive into detail about that slider? Because I think you called it one of the worst pitches you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, that was, I don't even know, man. Sheesh. I have no idea.
Can you believe that he actually executed a pitch like that? And we were actually just talking about, okay, what's the reason that his breaking ball is so bad on the road?
You know what it reminded me of?
What did it remind you of?
Back in Babe Ruth, there's always that one kid that said he could throw a knuckleball. And one time, this kid was like, oh, I'm going to throw a knuckleball in the middle of a game. And
oh boy,
this is a true story. Our team walked off against it because he threw the knuckleball and the thing just didn't move at all. And it was like, boop. And it was like an eephus pitch. And a kid on my team just crushed it into a car over the wall. And yeah. And that's just how I feel. It's like, obviously, he's a major league pitcher, and Jake Bird will probably, 2 years from now, this will probably look like a really good trade. But hopefully. That slider was horrendous, bro. It was so bad. It caught way too much plate. And again, you're throwing to Kyle Stowers, okay? And, it didn't even matter if it was Stowers. I mean, it could have been, like you said, Anthony Volpe. I mean, you don't throw that type of pitch in that situation. I think really the issue right now is in baseball. It's across baseball. A lot of these guys have great stuff. They don't have command, and they don't necessarily have, the feel for where it's going to go. I mean, you saw that with Doval to an extent. I didn't think Doval was that bad, but you saw Doval was missing his mark. And obviously it's his first game as a Yankee. I get that. But it feels like around baseball, we've put such an emphasis on either, a reliever throwing 100 miles an hour or a reliever having like the craziest break spin rate you'll ever see. And it almost seems like because of that, we've taken a bath in terms of actually having control, knowing where you're pitching. I mean, it's like somebody playing MLB The Show and not knowing the timing at all. Right. And you're just hitting it a spot and you're not knowing, oh, I have to do the next step. You don't just pick a spot and it goes there. If if you can't hit the timing mechanic, the ball might go past the backstop.
We can use the same players, and my players look different for me because I know where the ball is going. And by the way, you sort of learn in Alex Reyes, I'm going to get to your super here in just a second, you learn that the Mason Millers are as expensive and the Durans are as expensive as they are, not because they throw 102. It's 102 located. It's 102 with a polished breaking ball that doesn't hang as often. That's what makes pitchers great. I know people talk about stuff all the time, and I'm glad you introduced this idea. Mm-hmm. Pitching is not just stuff. It's not a competition of stuff. That's not what this is, right? That's what Driveline is, right? This essentially a program meant to help you improve your stuff, and then you need to hone in that stuff, and it can put you in the major leagues at a high level. That's their job. But you can throw 103 with nasty movement, and if that movement ends up moving to the middle of the plate consistently, you're not a good pitcher. And that's what you learn. So obviously, horrible start for these guys, and we hope it improves. It can't be worse than this. I mean, our bullpen, the new guys, they pitched 2 1/3 tonight. They gave up 9. 9.
It was. You thought it was as bad as it could possibly get, and then they brought in these guys, and you're thinking, oh, we have a super bullpen or close to it. And the media was talking about it too. Everyone's like, oh, the Yankees have the best bullpen in the majors right now. And then all of a sudden they go out and they give up more runs than this terrible bullpen that I said was the worst in baseball. So
I feel like it's a lot of good. The average is just a lot of good, which is, it's not a bad thing to have. If you bring somebody out there, we would like to believe at the end of this year, Bird is going to be someone serviceable, highly serviceable, right?
Yeah.
Duvall, highly serviceable. You're talking about Devin Williams, Luke Weaver. You look at this group and you say, okay, there's some guys here I can justify pitching well for this team, and there's not a ton of pressure on them. There's 3 or 4 guys behind them at their skill set. Are any of them a Mason Miller? No. Are any of them a Duran? No. But all we really wanted is if we had a serviceable bullpen from the beginning of the season till now, we're probably 5 games ahead in first place, but we're not because we just have refused to get outs in our pen. And Alex Reyes, a mod of ours, thank you, Alex, for the 10. We're going to catch up here on the supers. You guys have been awesome. And again, guys, thank you for being involved. I'm trying to throw people up on the screen as well in our live chat. So thank you guys for all being here. Make sure you guys, we have 656 people in here. Make sure you guys subscribe. We are getting very close. I cannot wait to give away this jersey. Yankees jersey of your choice, home or road, any number, top of the line quality. Make sure you guys subscribe. And of course, share the podcast because we can get to that giveaway as fast as possible. Alex Reyes with the 10 says, never seen a more mismanaged game like the one I saw today. Low coming in and then just letting it all the new guys who barely even spoke to Wells pitch is mind-boggling. They'll be fine, though. So, Alex, I'm going to say this. The new guys, in my opinion, should have pitched. But once you get yourself into a situation, you have to bring those guys out immediately. You need to set the tone and get their feet wet immediately. But when you start bringing it in, all of a sudden it's basically a mess immediately, right? Bird gets out there, it's a mess. Now the ball's rolling. I felt like after I watched what happened with Bird, I mean, Jake, I don't know how you felt about it. It felt like the entire game was ruined. The entire feel of the game was destroyed. And I don't really know what else to say about it because there were things I didn't like at all about what Aaron Boone did, but is this really justified to blame him for the result of the game when you bring in all the guys that we said were good pickups overall, and they come in and surrender 9 runs, not to the Los Angeles Dodgers, the San Diego Padres, or the Phillies, 9 runs to the Miami Marlins, who are sellers? I'm here to tell you guys right now, I don't care, like I said, who's managing. This is just pathetic work from the players. And at some point or another, we need to look at that group and say, what the hell are you guys doing?
I totally agree. I had issues with some of the things Boone did. I like some of the things Boone did. Sounds like a regular Yankee game. But I'm kind of tired of us just constantly blaming Boone and saying fire Boone when you have grown men. You have veteran presence on the mound, in right field, wherever. Caballero is 28, okay? That can't happen, right? He's got a 5 DRS in right field. He's not even a bad right fielder at all. He's a good right fielder. But like, people are going to blame Boone because they put him there. It's like, well, that wouldn't have happened with Bellinger. You're probably right. It probably wouldn't have happened with Bellinger. But how is that even fair? So you're telling me now Boone can't use one of the guys that they specifically got to be used in that situation?
That's like being at the blackjack table and you're like, you know what? I'm going to put 10 grand on this hand. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I guess if I didn't gamble that, I would have just kept my money. It's like, well, yeah, we're sitting here in hindsight. But again, if you put maybe a Jason Dominguez out there as a defensive replacement, we at least have evidence to suggest why it's not going to work. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It just makes a lot of sense. But Jake, just yesterday we were talking about, Caballero, he's somebody you could just throw out there. He's great defensively. Outfield, yes. You want to throw him at second base, third base, it's going to work. And then you throw him out in right field the first day, and it looks like that. A ball goes under your glove late in the game, just ruining the whole game. It's just so, it's reprehensible. We're going to catch up on the Super. Slim Lewis sucks because I saw Slim obviously getting, more positivity. Look at Slim. Slim with the 2 says completely bizarre. They'll bounce back. And I would tend to agree with you. But at the same time.
Is that actually Slim Lewis or is somebody an imposter?
I think Slim is trying to call for help. We're not sure. So if anyone knows Slim, let them know we are looking for him. We do care about him. So Slim, again, thank you for supporting Yankees Unloaded. It's greatly appreciated. And Daniel, thank you for the 10. Says, I get it now. Volpe isn't bad. He's just chasing a 30-30 season.
I tried to tell
errors
you guys.
And home runs. I didn't even see that.
Jameis
errors,
Winston, baby.
Yeah, so right now he's at 16 homers, so he might fall just short of that. He might get into the 20s. 17. I will say that. 17?
Yeah, didn't he hit his 17th today?
Volpe made an error today? When did I miss that?
No, he hit 17 home runs. No,
but I'm talking about the errors, not the home runs.
I thought you said 16 home runs, so I was just correcting you there. But
no, he has I believe 16 errors.
Yes.
So
hey,
it'll be interesting.
It'll be close. He's also, by the way, the first Yankee to have 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in his first 3 seasons.
Shout out to Volpe. Ninja Hot Dog, thank you for the 5. Also
Appreciate
a member here
Ninja.
at Yankees Unloaded. And we're going to catch up on the memberships as well, guys. So we'll throw you guys up on the screen. So thank you guys for doing so. It says,
Yes.
WTF, we acquired three or four arms to fix our bullpen issue, and all 4 implode on the same day. Either Cashman is stupid or our failure is contagious. Probably both. I'm going to just say this safely. Brian Cashman acquired a bunch of good. Well, here's the thing about good arms is you can show up and they can be bad. That's entirely possible. And that is essentially what happens when you don't go at the top of the market. Now, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, now this is a terrible deadline. But I am telling you guys, Duvall is not untouchable, right? Bednar is not untouchable. These guys don't have untouchable stuff, untouchable location. There's a reason that these players were had for prospects that were not at the top of our list. There wasn't any George Lombard Jr. Spencer Jones, we didn't have to get rid of him for any of these players. And all of these players showed up to the Yankees under control. Again, good trades. However, there's a reason they were as cheap as they were. So, again, good deadline, but you're leaving room for these type of nights. And unfortunately, that night happened to be tonight.
Yeah. No, it definitely, unfortunately, right? And, you know, I don't want to like nitpick too much about the offense, because anytime you have 15 hits and you score 12 runs and all that, but I gotta wonder what was going through Boone's head. And again, this is what it comes down to. I like things that he does. I dislike things that he does. Now, to be fair, I feel the same way about Sean McVay, and he's won a Super Bowl before, so it happens. I'm very critical, and I have my nitpickiness, okay? But Paul Goldschmidt being in this lineup against a right-handed hitter over Ben Rice can't happen. It just can't.
Why did it happen, do you think?
I think this was probably, as you've said before, this was a scheduled day to get Paul Goldschmidt back in the lineup and get him going. I don't agree with it. I don't think at this point in the game, the way Paul Goldschmidt's hitting, the way he's falling off a cliff, the on-base percentage, which used to be like, flirting with 380, 370, is now down to 336. The average, which was flirting around 340, is now down to 280. Right?
How about that defense?
And the defense just isn't that great. I'm sorry, it's not. It's better than Rizzo. It's better than last year's Ben Rice, but I'd say Ben Rice and him, maybe he gets a little bit more of the nod, but Ben Rice is the better hitter right now. He just is. And I think Ben Rice should be an everyday first baseman. And the days that you want to give, Goldschmidt an opportunity against lefties, have Ben Rice play catcher over Austin Wells.
Can I ask you a question, though? Because you bring up the point that certain players, you just like them head-to-head, one-on-one versus each other, right? You like Ben Rice, and I agree with you. I like Ben Rice right now more than I like the idea of Paul Goldschmidt starting at first base. The question is if we run down Toronto, win the division, right? I'm making a projection here, and we're in October. We see a right-handed arm. Who's playing? Who plays for the Yankees at first base?
In October?
What is the answer?
See, that should be a no-brainer, Ben Rice, because he is hitting against righties. And Goldschmidt, I don't care about the veteran presence. I don't care that he has experience. Goldschmidt's not good against righties. I don't know how long we have to go on about acting like, it's serviceable. It's not even serviceable, okay? It's not. And I'm not hating on Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt could be utilized against lefties. Goldschmidt can be utilized when you're giving Wells a day off. Ben Rice is the backup catcher. So you can use Ben Rice at catcher. But the idea that you're just going to waste, in my opinion, an opportunity here to have Ben Rice get 4 at-bats is repulsive to me. And the thing here is Goldschmidt struck out 3 times. He's not the situational hitter he was earlier in the year. He's not hitting home runs, right? And he's not really getting on base as much. The on-base percentage has plummeted. and he's not slugging. So
Right.
I like Goldschmidt. I'm glad they got him, but let's be honest with ourselves. He is having the exact inverse of the year he had last year. Last year, he got off to a terrible start. First half was awful, and then the second half was great. And that's what ultimately led to him being signed. Now, he's going from starting off great for the first half to now the second half, he's falling off. And we can just sit here and pretend he's still a big name in the lineup. I've already kind of moved on, okay? It's what have you done for me lately? And all I know is when Ben Rice is at the plate, I actually feel like he's going to get a hit every time. I feel like Ben Rice, you're at least going to get a good at bat from him. Right now, Paul Goldschmidt does not look good at the plate, especially against right-handed pitching. Doesn't look good at all. And then you further prove the point because then Boone pinch hits for him later in the game. Don't forget that part. Ben Rice pinch hits for Paul Goldschmidt against a right-handed pitcher. So my question is, if the right-handed pitcher today in Junk goes 5 innings or 6 innings or whatever, you're okay with that? Like Goldschmidt being there? You weren't okay late in the game, but you're okay with it for 6 innings?
Hey Goldie,
That's
come
insane.
sit down next to Coach. Why are you pinch hitting him? Oh, we wanted to get him a look against a righty. Oh, really?
So you didn't
because
want
he
to
got
get
3 looks.
Ben Rice 4 looks or whatever.
Right. So that's really opening the door for what I'm essentially getting to here. How
Yeah.
this advances. Because I don't want to make it seem like, oh, if this guy plays well, good job for playing him. And then if you do play him and he doesn't play well, you should have played the other guy. No, what I'm trying to get to here is a consistent system where we can look at each position and say, yeah, that guy should just play there because he's the best guy at the position. And then if there's going to be another guy who plays in his spot, it should be at his strength. Paul Goldschmidt's strengths against left-handed pitching. You just brought that up. And yet, if we walked into game 1 of a division series, I bet you I would see Paul Goldschmidt. If the game was tomorrow, he'd start. And it has nothing to do with performance. It doesn't have anything to do with the week or week and a half that Paul Goldschmidt's had. It's just scheduled. You simply can't justify it. It's just poor coaching is all it is. And if they want to say it's analytics and they came up with it some other way, well, that analytic doesn't work. So either way you slice it, it's either a computer's fault or it's your fault, and I just need to know who that is. I would love if they would answer it for us. And Marion, we completely agree with what your entire premise here. Thank you for the 10. Thank you for listening. It's crazy that we have fans of other teams who listen to our podcast.
Too. So
You sure did. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming this super chat came in after that or maybe even before, who knows. Maybe we didn't see it, but it says Marlins fan checking in. Yes, the Yankees blew it, but please give credit to the Marlins who had no quit, and that is absolutely true, and are one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. Love the podcast. Keep up the good work. Marion, thank you. Love the picture of the cat. Always great. But yeah, I will tell you guys, when you're getting outplayed, as much as the Marlins are playing really good baseball, when you're in the hunt to win a division, you just went, I'll honestly say, we had I'm going to call it a really good trade deadline.
Yes.
You have all the momentum. You won the games before the actual deadline. You have all the momentum. You walk into Miami, as good as they're playing, it's a young team. You, at some point, the veteran presence that we have around the field has to take over, and you need to finish off these games. And the Yankees just didn't do that. That's not on Aaron Boone. He made a ton of mistakes today, but you can make all the mistakes in the world. At some point or another, your veterans have to step in and say, let's put an end to this game. Let's put an end to this series and get essentially off on a good foot, here. And so the Yankees, in my opinion, Marion, again, Jake brought it up earlier, ton of fight over there. And unfortunately, they threw the last punch. We never got up again.
That is true. No, we appreciate you, Marion. I also want to add more onto the Goldschmidt thing. I actually brought up his splits. He's still great against left-handed pitching. Like, so much so, I could understand if you're like, all right, he does need to play over Ben Rice against lefties. That's fine.
A dead platoon.
392, 470 on base, 657 slugging, and a 1100 OPS. Okay? Now, mind you, it's 102 at-bats. You're not going to see as many lefties, which is why I don't mind the dead platoon. Against righties, and again, 267 at-bats, He has a 240 batting average, a 284 on base, a 326 slugging, and a 610 OPS. He should never, ever be starting against a righty over Ben Rice. Ever. It
He
should
shouldn't
not
pinch
happen.
hit. I don't even. There's
I don't want
not
him
even a
anywhere
situation.
near a right-handed bat.
That makes a lot of
right-handed
sense.
pitcher. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just, it's not one of those, he's good against lefty, really good against lefties. He's not bad against righties. No, he's honestly the worst hitter in the lineup when he sees a righty. He has a 610 OPS, guys. That's terrible. That's 267 at bats. Nobody has a lower OPS on this roster than he has splitting against righties.
Can you argue then that this means that Aaron Boone is making the lineups? Because I'll tell you this, though, Jake. If you're using analytics wouldn't point you to Paul Goldschmidt starting
That's
these
my
games.
thing. I've been saying
Analytics would
that.
not. So
Yeah.
explain to me, you're bringing up the premise that the difference between Ben Rice and Paul Goldschmidt against right-handed pitching is so distant, right? You're talking about just two totally different players. One is great against right-handed pitching. Really good. He's slugging. He's getting on base, right? The defense is comparable at first base. What analytic do you have that we don't know about that's telling you that this is the best decision for you? I want to know what analytic that is. Rather than just saying the Yankees have an analytic that is smarter than what you guys have. Well, no, it's not. First and foremost, you should have a manager sitting in the dugout that says, yeah, maybe the numbers say that Ben Rice should sit down today against a righty, but in junk, but Paul Goldschmidt is just not it against right-handed pitching.
He should not be playing
common
tomorrow.
sense. Yeah, common sense has to come into play here. It just hasn't. And again, we probably wouldn't be diving so much into the analytics and who's playing where if this Yankees bullpen that we just brought in was worth half a meatball tonight. But this is what comes with losing. What cures gossip, if you will, or negative talk is simply winning. So if the Yankees don't like this, or Boone doesn't like being questioned, why'd you go with this? Why'd you go with that? What solves it is just winning. And I'll tell you right now, if we had this podcast in 2009, Jake, I bet you somewhere along the way, we would have been complaining somewhere.
Absolutely.
Why did we do that? Why did we bring him from there? Why did he pitch in that order? That didn't make sense. That's a really bad decision. And then guess what? You win the World Series and you say, never mind. Never mind. We'll take a step back and accept you were part of the solution. So that's what I'm offering the Yankees. If you don't like this tornado of criticism, you don't like that every time we lose, it's an uproar, win. Just win. And if the Yankees had won today, there were 40 mistakes, but half the people in our comment section right now bringing up the things, same way we're doing, by the way, bringing up some of the things that didn't go right.
Yeah.
We'd probably hold it in a little bit because we'd be able to read the room and say, you know what, winning's more important. And so that's what's so disappointing about this. This group just right now, so far, is just not getting it done. Yeah. Frankie, never seen that spelling, but Frankie Sinatra, thank you for the 5.
Sinatra.
I have never seen that, ever.
I love
Says,
it.
remember the days you could walk outside with your Yankees hat on and not feel embarrassed. Baseball gods hate us. Yeah. Yeah, it feels like we're, in a way, we haven't won in 16 years. We clearly have to run down the Blue Jays. I mean, you can't be outrun by Toronto. You just can't.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
Two
go
and a
ahead.
half games if they win this game. 2.5. They're right there. You wasted a good outing from the Royals. The Royals sold. They gave up guys at the deadline.
Can we discuss Rodon, though, for just a second here? Because I
Of
want,
course.
before we get to our next super, and again,
And then
Frankie
I want to touch
Sinatra.
on Volpe, by the way.
Yes, and Anthony Volpe deserves his day in the sun. He absolutely does, and we're going to do that here in a second. But thank you, Frankie Sinatra. Love the name. But I want to talk about Carlos Rodon here for a second, because this seems important. When we came into the year, we asked who we're getting. And we said, it's going to be great some days. It's going to be atrocious with blow-ups and punching the wall and kicking the cooler. right? Losing his mind over the pitch comm. That was the guesstimate of what we would have seen. You get to the All-Star break and trade deadline, we would have said, oh, he's going to probably have what did we say again, Jake? Just so I have the number exactly correct, the ERA. And I know ERA is not everything, but you get the gist.
I thought it was was it 375?
375. If we got a 375 ERA, we would essentially said, okay, Rodon's like a 3, right?
Yeah.
Not our ace over Fried.
Probably
He's not
350.
really even a 2. Right. He's probably a 3, but you're just hoping that he times some of those good starts, those quality starts against some of the best teams in baseball. That's what we were hoping for. And guess what we got? First 13 starts of the year, not all of them, but the majority, he was great. Carlos Rodon was locating. The stuff was there. It wasn't a regression in velocity. He was working in sinkers, cutters. He wasn't giving it quite as many home runs. His control was there. Guess who he's been since? The player that we were essentially projecting. Now, again, I'm not just telling you guys, okay, he's reverted and he'll never get up off the mat, but you've got to get off the mat before I can suggest that you've done so. Carlos Rodon was horrible today. You cannot pitch against the Marlins. And again, Marion, close your ears here. It's the Marlins. You have to, in August, shut it down. You're a $180 million pitcher. You can't walk 5. Pitch 5 innings and give up 4. You can't do that. It's just that simple. Very simple concept here. So I get the concept. Not everyone's going to have their best stuff every night, but this is now a trend. Carlos Rodon over his last 4 or 5 starts has not been the same Carlos Rodon, and it just so happens that the last 4 to 5 starts are the most important starts he's had all year. That matters, Jake. So I'm just curious to see from now and probably starting August 6th, August 7th, who's Carlos Rodon going to be from then to the end of the season? He needs to look like somewhat of the Rodon we had those first 13, or this Yankees team is going to be in that wild card. It's a shame, but I'm hopeful. I hope it happens.
Yeah, I mean, Rodon's had an interesting year, right? He gets off to a good start, first start of the year against Milwaukee. You know, he gets the win, 7 strikeouts, 5 1/3. But you've talked about before, this is really who he is, a 5 1/3 to 6 inning pitcher. And I don't know how much that's really helping the Yankees because, you know, they need to get more length. They shouldn't have had to put in this many bullpen guys in a game where he had 9 strikeouts. This is what we talk about, where strikeouts are not everything. I mean, right now, and I think Rodon's going to turn it around. I think it's kind of a rough patch he's hitting. But right now, if he was healthy, Ryan Yarbrough is way more valuable because he's going to be able to go length. He's going to be able to get outs. He might not get the strikeouts. He might not, you know, win your parlay or whatever. But Ryan Yarbrough is going to get outs. And we've seen that. He was able to go length. We've seen that. That's not something Rodon really does. He had 8 innings pitched, to be fair, against Chicago in the 11-0 win back on the 11th of July. But aside from that, 5 1/3. Not even getting 5 this time. 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 5, 5, then a 7. To get 7, you'd have to go back to June 3rd.
It's
then
not good
7
enough.
again, 6, 5, 6, 6 2/3. So he was a lot better at the beginning of the year. But right now, this is the issue. You've just had 3 back-to-back outings where you didn't even get 5 2/3 innings pitched. So
Right.
that's where, you know, we look at, okay, now tomorrow you put, and this is the thing too, Gary, not only do you put pressure on the rest of your roster in the game, you put pressure on the young kid, the rookie, in his 4th start. Now he knows he has to go a little bit more length to save the bullpen. And that's the thing. And that's how they can compile, man. When you're constantly getting just not a lot of length out of your starters, they know. I mean, they're not idiots. They don't go on the mound and they're like, oh, yeah, we totally didn't use all 8 guys last night in the bullpen. They know. They understand. They're smart. They're aware of, hey, what I do today is setting the table for the rest of this series. So Cam Schiller's going to go out there tomorrow and know he needs to go a certain amount of length to pick up the bullpen here because the Yankees used 5 arms today out of the bullpen. It's just not acceptable. Not in a game where you score 13 or 12 runs. you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like you're starting pitching. If you pitch 7 innings, 6 2/3, and obviously they're all trying to go length, but it's a matter of what you do and what you don't. If you don't give us any length, it's like having a poor run game in the NFL. If you can't run a lick, guess what the defense knows? Your own defense knows, I'm going to be right back on that field immediately. And by the end of the game, they're exhausted. Some of the best defenses in the NFL also just so happen, right? Philadelphia Eagles, best run game in the NFL. Wow, amazing how that works. Your defense gets a chance to be off the field, and it makes them better. That's exactly what essentially John Morosi was getting at, and Jim Leland was saying, yeah, I want to go to my bullpen, but not because I have to, just simply out of want. Well, the Yankees had to go to their bullpen today. Why? Because Carlos Rodon was atrocious. I don't care who you were playing. We could have been pitching against the Dodgers today. If you guys went up in a postseason series, if we went into a playoff series and we were playing Toronto, right? Good team, very good team. And we go out there, what do you expect from Carlos Rodon? You would expect more than 5 innings of work. And if he gives you 5, it's not a successful outing. It's a failure. And you brought him to this team and you paid as much money as you paid for him to avoid that. So I get it. Bad starts happen. We saw him from CC. We've seen it from every pitcher, Andy Pettit, Garrett Cole. But you got to time these starts in ways where we're not in the thick of it, which we very much so are right now. So I want to throw, I believe Ronnie. Yeah, thank you, Ronnie. Thank you for the 5. Says irony. Yanks get McMahon and Bird and have their worst loss of the season. Rockies trade McMahon and Bird, just had the best one of the season. I believe the Rockies just played a high-scoring game as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Against the Pirates, so another team that the Yankees traded with, and that they won 17-16.
Are you kidding me?
Dead serious.
Yeah, it is the irony, but I feel like what else can you say about this group?
McMahon has been everything and more that you could ask him to be. I mean, I want to give him credit too. You know, I know he went only 1 for 5, but if for 5 on the day, let that one hit come at a really important, crucial time. And that's what happened. McMahon's able to send, Caballero home on that single. And that's actually another frustrating thing. I think Boone did the right thing. I think Caballero makes so much sense to pinch run for Ben Rice. You have Slater. You have Bellinger that can play first, right? In a pinch, if you had to move Wells over there, if you had another catcher, you could. But you got 2 guys that you could actually move to first. So it makes a world of sense. Caballero can play every position except for first and catcher. And now you're getting a guy who I would call the Dave Roberts of this team. He's going to be very important on the base paths. Yeah. So basically, he's a cheat code. He'll get you to throw over twice. Now you can't pick him off. And he's going to get a crazy lead. You can't even throw over to first base. And he basically just goes in standing up at second. And now he's able to score on like the lightest or the hardest contact because he's so fast. And that's what happened with McMahon. And that was not an easy pitch. I don't know if you saw that sweeper was not easy. That was a sweeper. And I want to give McMahon credit because I feel like he's been much more of a bat-to-ball contact guy with the Yankees. His first appearance, of the year, I know I was like, I do not like his swing. He's got a brutal strikeout swing. But he's looked really good, and more importantly, the defense is there as well because obviously we knew the hitting was going to be better than Peraza, but the defense has been really good too and has actually saved them and probably saved them in this game to even make it a 13-12 ball game. This game could have been over beforehand if he doesn't make that play.
Yeah, McMahon has looked great. And I just tweeted maybe an hour and a half ago essentially saying, yeah, Brian Cashman seems like so far so good. I mean, he did pretty well with this trade. Is it what I would have done? Hell no. But that doesn't mean that I'm some wizard and genius that knows it all, right? Sometimes someone does something and it just works out. And I said, I'll eat crow, at least for now, and just see how it looks long term. But so far, I mean, you saw the glove today. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody who can change the game defensively. And I understand that Peraza looked decent over there at times, but the bat was just a pool noodle. You couldn't justify him being here. Obviously, we sent him to Anaheim and we wished him the best of luck. But
Yeah.
McMahon has looked very good. And Jake, I know earlier you wanted to move this conversation to Anthony Volpe. He deserved. He had 4 knocks today. The power game is not just there. He's not just slugging random homers down 6-1 on the road. No, he's hitting clutch home runs as well. And so Anthony Volpe right now, the player, is a bad defender, but offensively right now, we're at the most important part of the season that we've been in. And Anthony Volpe is deciding that right now, just like last October, I'm going to play my best baseball. And so I'm curious what the takeaway is right now in this player, because am I just going to, I don't know, buy into the future of Anthony Volpe and a long stay at shortstop for this team? Perhaps not. I know we heard from some of the reporters that, hey, maybe the Yankees move Volpe over to second base because clearly the glove's not working. Maybe he's not healthy. I'm not sure. But the bat looks great. What are you seeing with this player right now?
I'm seeing a player that is looking like an extension of himself in the World Series. That's what I'm seeing. A guy that, like you said, the home runs aren't just, oh, yeah, it's Chris Paul makes a nice fadeaway down 40. Like, no, it's not that at all. It's Anthony Volpe is coming through in the clutch with these home runs. And you also are starting to see, and it's a little thing. I don't want to get TMZ here and care about like celebrating and all that. But at the same time, Anthony Volpe showed some moxie today. Okay. Like you saw that the whole, like he's starting to, and that's a good sign. I don't like looking into that stuff normally, but with Anthony Volpe, I'll take anything to get that kid's confidence up. He's 24, and it looks like every single time the ball's hit at him, he looks depressed. When he's at the plate, he looks depressed. And so now I think you're starting to see he's actually starting to feed off the emotion of these hits. Today, he went 4 for 5. I mean, every single thing that he was able to do in this game, he scores 3 runs. I mean, he was really important to their success today. And a lot of people might not get this. You might fall on the floor when you hear this. But Anthony Volpe is tied with Kyle Schwarber for the most home runs since the All-Star break. Anthony Volpe. He can't stop hitting home runs. And look, do I want my shortstop to just aim for the fences? Not really. No. But at this point, his batting average is now up to 223. His OPS is up to 719. We were talking at one point, Gary, his OPS was starting to regress back down to the rookie year level, okay? And now he's well on his way to having a career high in home runs, and you're starting to see him on the base paths again, okay? So, yeah, by all means, do what keeps you comfortable. Do what keeps you confident. Right now, Anthony Volpe is a confident player, and we haven't seen that. I would go on to say since the World Series when he hit that home run.
Yeah, and keep in mind, guys, we're not trying to sell you on this player at all. We really couldn't care less. Next year, if it's Volpe or anybody else, we just want that player to be winning, helping us win, right? Be successful. We don't care. And mind you, when people talk about Anthony Volpe, they talk about him like he's a kid, like he's 17 years old. Anthony Volpe's 24. They treat Spencer Jones, and again, we bring on multiple reporters, and we almost treat Spencer Jones being 24 like he's a senior citizen. They were like, by the way, he's old, guys. He's not young, right? That was the verbiage. And they're right. A 24-year-old's old enough to know what to do around a baseball field, barring it being his first year in the league. But you guys get the concept. Anthony Volpe is displaying confidence, like Jake's saying. This is his job to right the ship. We can't sit here and clap like seals and take responsibility for what you're doing. It's his responsibility. It's his, along with the rest of the staff, it's their job to present the best possible player so that we can say, hey, bring that guy back. We want his services. That's your job. In the end, your job is to get the job done. If you're going to hit homers, then hit homers. We're not going to sit here and tell you to hit line drives if you're going to practically lead the league in home runs since the break. If you're going to do that, we'll let you do that. The only gripe with him is the defense. So Anthony Volpe, in my opinion right now, I don't really have complaints outside the glove. Offensively, he's been everything you want. And, of course, the rest of the season was atrocious. He was one of our worst players, if not our worst player. And so far, the past multiple weeks now, you're talking about a guy who's helping us in the clutch. And you can argue the Yankees right now are probably one of the worst teams in the clutch. I mean, Ryan McMahon hit a walk-off just the other day. before that, it's like, how much of that were we doing? We were losing a ton of games in extra innings. We didn't know what to do in the clutch. So anything Volpe's doing right now, inning 7 and later, is highly welcome. So thank you, Volpe, obviously, for doing so. We have no idea what it means long term. You very well still could be off this team next year. We have no idea what's going to happen with arbitration. But so far, the last couple weeks, we want to see more of this. And if we do, we'll be the first ones here at Yankees Unloaded to talk about it. And Brian says, WTF is Wells doing? By the way, he's absolutely atrocious. So, Brian,
I saw
sure has a way with words.
Thing from Drew Thorpe. I don't know if I'll be able to find the comment. Probably not. It was a while ago, and we have a lot of comments. But I did see it come up. I wanted to bring this up. I saw this super chat. Figured I'd bring it up now.
Okay.
So Drew was saying that essentially, remember that not injury, but he was having like that numbness in his hand or his fingers. He was saying how he has not been the same since. So this is not an excuse. This is me wondering, and again, I'm not throwing the Yankees under the bus, but this is me wondering why Ben Rice isn't playing more behind the plate. This is me wondering why they sent down JC Escar, even though I agree with it. This is me wondering why they just traded away 3 catchers at the deadline.
Well, do you think Boone's aware of it? If it is an issue, do you think Aaron Boone knows?
I mean, the thing is, of course, right? But at the same time, oftentimes what these coaches will do, and they never want to tell you this, but they'll just say, yeah, he can fight through it. We believe in him. And so they feel like that's what the player needs in that moment. I hear it all the time in the NFL. And you know what ends up happening? They always re-injure something. Oh, yeah, he's
or they just don't play good football.
Or they just don't play foot. Yeah, exactly. I've heard it all the time. I've heard it from players in a locker room with a coach that did that. And it never goes the way you want it to. It just doesn't.
That's a good point, though, from Drew.
It's a great point. Playing injured, also, yeah, players lie. And Drew just said Wells is still being treated daily for his hand. So that gets me kind of hopeful and a little bit feeling a little bit better about his future, as long as it's not like a serious nerve thing forever, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, this year it's kind of a wash. Next year he'll be better, whatever. Because they kind of told us at the deadline, yeah, Austin Wells is our franchise catcher. They told us that. They moved Jesus Rodriguez. They moved Rafael Flores. They moved Edgelien Perez. They are telling us Wells is our franchise catcher, and they kept Ben Rice, so it's telling us that right now the plan is Ben Rice is our franchise first baseman. So the thing about Wells, though, is he's hitting under 100 in his last 15 games.
Is that bad?
Yeah, it's bad.
And if Boone knows, by the way, and we figure he does, I mean, they call him a player's manager. You figure a player's manager, since they're texting, they text, hey, how's the hand feeling? What do you ask him about Love Island? What are you guys texting about? Probably baseball, right? Yeah. And I'm sure some, right, friendly stuff, whatever. But you mean to tell me it's not communicated, that you're still dealing with this? You mean to tell me that Aaron Boone doesn't know? He's going to the trainer's room, right? Drew knows this, and we saw the report as well. We saw the same report. We've seen what he's dealing with. You mean to tell me this version of Austin Wells that's dealing with an injury, right? Some type of effect, that he's not playing, he's not himself. This version of him is better than Ben Rice behind the plate? Really? Is it? I can't understand that concept. Just for me, I don't get it. So if our manager just knows all these players, well, he should also know what they're dealing with. And if you know what they're dealing with, you have to weigh that for who's going to play where and why. So clearly we didn't do that. It's unfortunate. And it left us in a situation where Austin Wells, the past couple weeks, has been one of the worst players. He's probably our worst player on our team right now, unfortunately. And Austin Wells isn't the reason we lost today, so we want that to be perfectly clear. But there's going to be a time where you really need his production. And so far, the Yankees are perfectly fine sending a player that is somewhat ailing out on the field. We can't understand the concept. But thank you, Drew, obviously, for putting that information here.
Yeah.
Makes our show
absolutely
go. Joseph with a 5 said, who's the bigger idiot, Austin Wells or Cabrera? Both need to be held accountable by being sent are being sent to Mars. What do you think, Jake?
I mean, it's a boneheaded play by Caballero. And then, Wells, it's funny. People forget Wells dropped a pop-up. So it was
I did
Hedrick.
forget that.
Yeah. You know why? Because there were no runs that were recorded. It was one of the off chances where the Yankees don't take care of business and they didn't actually pay for it because right after Hedrick got out of it. But yeah, Wells is getting beat to shit back there. You watch him, it's a foul tip. It's the bat hitting his dude. He got
hit in the nuts today, by the way. I don't know if anyone saw that.
He got hit in the nuts. He got hit in the cranium. Did you see? Augustine Ramirez is like, you took my job. You took my life.
They took our jobs.
I'm kidding. Obviously, I don't think there was any ill intent. Also, it was the back.
For those of you South Park fans, Jake, did you get the reference?
No.
No, I'm sorry. So for any of you South Park
yes,
fans,
I did.
hopefully,
yes, I did.
Okay,
actually.
good. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yep. No, but
I
mean,
Joseph, thank you.
That's the thing is Wells is really feeling it back there, but at the same time, he's got a 271 on base percentage. Okay, he's hitting 212. He's falling off a damn cliff, and now Anthony Volpe is flying past him. And it wasn't that long ago we were talking about, wow, Austin Wells still has a 700 something OPS, 720 something. And
he opened
Anthony
up the batting stance. That was the story.
Yeah, he opened up but now it's just like he has a below 700 OPS, which is below average. It's not great right now. And he is somebody that I don't know how much I don't think the hand is helping, right? And I agree with Drew. He does look beat up. But I also just don't like his approach, Gary. It's a lot of uppercut swinging. It looks like he's literally just trying to hit a home run every time.
Do you know why that is?
Why is that? Because he's literally trying to hit a home run every time?
He's literally trying to hit home. I mean, it's the same concept of Anthony Volpe as a unit, right? Like A-Rod can get on the mic, right? Former players, we can get on the mic. Our chat can talk all we want. Hey, maybe this guy he's got the speed, right? You see the analytics are starting to show it.
Is that like James saying, I want you to, or is that like, because I don't remember last year, I don't remember Austin Wells looking like that. I remember Austin Wells having more of a level swing. That's what I remember. Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't remember any version of Austin Wells with a level swing.
I'm not saying
I'll say this about
I'm
Austin
saying
Wells.
more level than it is now.
Oh, no. I don't remember any version of him that was level. I think, and it's easy to nitpick when someone's not playing well, hitting 100 for the last several weeks. However, Austin Wells, I feel like his game plan, and this is not anything that Boone's telling him. It's not anything the hitting coach is telling him. It's just not. Because, guys, guess who has the same hitting coach and the same manager? Cody Bellinger. And Cody Bellinger will spray a ball the other way, level swing. I mean, Jake, you were just raving about it yesterday, right? We were talking about extension talks on Bellinger. And you mean to tell me some of these players can just, ignore bad advice, and then other players are like, let me hit the ball to the roof? Well, sometimes it just takes the player to understand, okay, how do I want to play, right? And again, I'll use my dad as an example. My dad played for 40 teams. No one ever changed his damn stance. Never. He never changed his bat waggle. He never changed his approach. Nothing changed. So that's what I'm always telling people. You can't put all the blame on your staff and all this stuff. You've got to look at the individual player, and I don't remember any version of Austin Wells. If he's successful, he's hitting the ball out of the ballpark. And he goes through a ton of streaks. He's very streaky. And unfortunately, I hate to see that a possible injury may be having an impact, because that's not what you want to see. So I don't know if it's his approach or just simply that Drew brings up. But, I mean, it's a good point, so I'm glad he did. And Mitchell, thank you for becoming a Yankees Unloaded member. Welcome aboard. And for those of you who want to do so, you can hit the join button below. I believe we're now over 70. We have over 70 memberships here at Yankees Unloaded. So thank you guys. And Daniel also became a member at Yankees Unloaded. Daniel, thank you for doing so.
Helping. I pinned the actual link. I found the link in our dashboard, and I was like, oh, okay. Because people can't find the damn button because the button shows up for some people. It doesn't show up for other people.
Oh, so it quick links
emails now
to that.
Yeah. I'm getting emails now from people like, hey, I really want to join, but I don't know where the hell the link is. I don't know where the button is.
I actually got an email. I got 2 emails this morning saying, hey, When are you guys going live tonight?
Dude, I love it. You guys are the best, for real. I mean, we have over 700 people in here. It's almost 1 a.m. on the East Coast. No one cares. It's just like, nope. Yankees unloaded. Not implying anything negative about McMahon, by the way. No, I knew that. It's a continuation of his previous super chat, which
that makes sense.
Yeah,
because obviously Ronnie's seeing the same thing we're seeing. We're seeing clutch hits. We're seeing defense. I mean, defense is what we needed. We wanted a total player. Remember, Suarez was out there. The D-backs are apparently disappointed in what they got back from him from Seattle. Seattle gave up hardly anything. But remember, the problem with Suarez, he's a great hitter, not a good fielder. Didn't solve our problems. Suarez today does not make that play at third base. You saw McMahon to the forehand where he's making that pick and Michael Kay almost flew out of the booth seeing it. Yeah, that play's not made from Eugenio Suarez. He's good at something else, and it's hitting. That's not at all what we needed. So Ronnie, I'm sure, sees everything that's happening right now with Ryan McMahon, and so far, he's an overall player with the Yankees, and his swing is not too big. So we will take everything he's doing on both ends of the ball. And Scott Ross, the GOAT, welcome in. Thank you for the 5. Thank you for supporting our channel as always. Says, I was excited about the deadline. I think we both were, Jake. I should have Googled and found Bird's ERA in July was 19 plus. And is Scott Ross, this is an undercover agent as your dad. Also, time for Goldschmidt to platoon. God, Scott agrees with everything you said, Jake. Platoon Paul Goldschmidt.
We love Scott Ross on this show. This is the Scott Ross podcast. I don't know what else to tell you. We're big fans of him. No.
By the way, what are his numbers against lefties? Do you have those numbers in front of you by chance? Yes.
1100 OPS. I think I still kept it up. Let's see. If not, I'll just look it up. I was saying that the other day because someone had commented like, I forget what it was, but it was like, do your homework. And it's like, bro, if we don't know it, we're going to look it up right on the show. We do not care. So his OPS against left-hand pitching, 392 average, 1100 OPS.
Perfect. So you can just draw the conclusion. Against righties, you don't even need to read me the numbers. They're dismal. I already know that because I can look at his average of his numbers and say, wow, they're not electric. Why is that? Well, because he plays against righties a lot, way too much. And then Ben Rice is the same thing. He's actually doing a lot more damage against righties. This is such a simple solution. And the defense, Jake, if Aaron Boone was deciding to do this and Paul Goldschmidt's glove was like 80th percentile and he was just wildly better at first base, I think we would have a play here, right? The Yankees just want their infield defense to be better.
Absolutely.
Paul Goldschmidt's glove isn't that much better than Ben Rice at first base, and Ben Rice has had his fair share of mistakes over there.
Yeah.
So is Paul Goldschmidt. Paul Goldschmidt hasn't picked multiple balls thrown in the dirt from Anthony Volpe the past several weeks. And so, yeah, is it Volpe's fault for throwing the ball in the dirt? Yeah. But guess what? Derek Jeter threw a lot of balls in the dirt, and Mark Teixeira has no problem with it. That's why we have his behind over there. So I don't get what we're doing. I'm not going to get too worried about Bird here. I think he's going to be fine. There's a reason we brought him in here with control. Yeah. He doesn't have to solve our problems in 2025. He just needs to help pull the rope a certain direction in a positive way. Now, Paul Goldschmidt, on the other hand, he honestly should just show up to the yard and know for certain if a right-handed arm is out there or coming out of the bullpen, my tail is going straight back to the bench, and that should be how it goes.
Where's he going to go sit?
Right next to Coach.
That kills me every time when you say that. I don't know why. We've been doing, this is our 287th episode, I think, and I'm still not over it. I think it's the funniest thing ever. Slim Lewis, thank you for the 5. The Martian had 3 huge hits and 2 stolen bases. Of all people, that's who you criticize because he didn't rob a home run. Come on, man. His D is improving. Okay. Whoa, easy. No, we hadn't gotten to his offensive stuff. That was in passing because the defensive stuff, yeah, I mean, he is getting better. He should have robbed the home run, but robbing a home run is not something that's expected from me. I'm saying that was a robbable home run, okay?
I think he definitely should have had a chance.
Probably Bellinger makes that play. Okay. Grisham might have made that play. Okay. I wasn't expecting Dominguez to, but I was like, oh, wow, that ended up being a lot closer than I thought it was off the bat. So, yeah. But no, I agree with you on that set. Like, the 3 huge hits, I think he's just becoming a much better offensive player. He I think was asked to be more power focused when he first came up. And I think you saw that. And that's what got people excited, because he had just kind of this, this moment. Because what puts you on the scene quicker than home runs? Nothing. There is nothing out there as a hitter that will get you put on the main scene more than if you start mashing home runs. Look at Jazz when he went to the Yankees. Look at Matt Carpenter. Oh, they signed him to a minor league deal. He's probably not going to play. Gets called up. He starts mashing. Like, they start comparing him to Babe Ruth. Like, the splits are nuts, right? When you hit home runs, you put yourself not only in the spotlight of the fans, but of the league. Everyone cares about home runs. Now everybody's betting on home runs, right? So Dominguez started off like that. But really, he's just a well-rounded hitter. He works counts. He gets on base. That on-base percentage is now at 341. Okay? He gets on base. He hits well. He can hit opposite field. He can hit it up the middle. He can pull it if he has to. He steals bags. He is a very well-rounded offensive player. And the question is, how much better is he going to get? That remains to be seen. And if the defense improves enough, that I think for sure I'll feel good about him long term. But I don't know for sure if the Yankees are going to view him as their left fielder of the future and the present if he doesn't get better in left field. So we'll see what ends up happening. But as far as the hitting, Jason Dominguez looks really good at the dish.
Yeah, so trying to really think about what I want to say about Jason Dominguez, because he doesn't play every day, right? And this is a guy that is trying to find his way out onto the field. And I heard earlier, Jake, I was listening to every word you said. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned about maybe coaching got in his ear and the power game became, right, an emphasis for him.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this about that, about approach. I think this is strictly player-based. I don't think the coaching staff had anything to do with it. And when I look at Jason Dominguez, if you take a look at all of the players on a roster and take him out of the equation, you look over and you see Jazz Chisholm, right? You look over and see some of these players, right? You see Volpe, you see Cody Bellinger, and you see these guys. We give them praise as an individual when they get it going. If a Jazz Chisholm shows up and tells us, I'm going 70% with my swing, we're like, well, when did you come to that conclusion? Oh, I thought of it myself. I just decided I think this is what's best for the team. We gave him praise. And then when it was going very poorly the first month, Jazz Chisholm people were saying this wasn't even a mainstay. He may be off this roster a couple of years from now. This is not going to work, right? You had bad defense at third base. You had uppercut swings, ton of strikeouts, not drawing any walks. And suddenly people said, well, what is the Yankees staff doing allowing Jazz to play this way? It's not that. It's Jazz playing that way. So I always hesitate to give individual players all the praise for when it goes well, and then when it goes bad, suddenly it's the staff. My deal is that Jason Dominguez needs to be able to manage himself. You mean to tell me you think in your right mind you're as good of a baseball player trying to hit home runs when you can just turn on YouTube, you can turn on MLB.com, you can go watch a replay of this game, see how much good you did? Offensively, you were wreaking havoc today. And we're going to forget about it because we lost 13-12, and that's a bummer. But defensively, Jason Dominguez, the play that bothered me wasn't the robbery of a home. I didn't care about him being able to rob a home run. Didn't even care. He just looked bad. I'm going to say this. What bothered me was when you get a ground ball out to the outfield. You should know this in high school. But when a guy's going to be safe by 30 feet at third base and you launch the ball to third and a guy goes sliding safely in, standing up to second, and it puts us in a situation now with multiple runners in scoring position, this is a mistake you can make in spring training. You need to be able to hone in the mental side of the game. I understand it. Not everybody can be Jim Edmonds, right? Not everybody can be a premier defender. I get that. Players have strengths and weaknesses. And the greatest players of all time, they have hardly any. You have to search for them. But Jason Dominguez is good at the hardest thing to do in this sport, and it's hitting. And he also can run, right? Dynamic offensive player. He needs to be smarter out in the outfield. That's all I ask. Balls hit out to you, know where to go with the ball. Keep the ball in front of you. Don't leave your feet and give up 3 bases, right? The basics. And so I just think right now, Jason Dominguez is in a point of his career where he's probably right now a designated hitter. But given the Yankees' needs and also an overflow at designated hitter, he can't really do that. Any other organization, he'd probably be sitting at DH, leading off for their team, hitting probably 280 with 20-plus homers, and we're probably calling him a much better player than what he is for us. But given our position, the Yankees don't really utilize him in the way that you would like to utilize him. So that's really more so roster construction. So Jason Dominguez, to me, has been highly impressive. I want to see more of him. I just know based on the way we do our business and who plays where, we're just not going to get that, unfortunately, Jake. And Cedric, thank you for becoming a Yankees Unloaded member. Hey, Jake, apparently dropping the link made it way easier for people to actually see what the hell was going on. So well done. Jake, you probably should work at YouTube. Their UI is just absolutely horrendous.
I'm telling you, I don't know how to program it. My dad is a programmer, so maybe I'll ask him. But if they gave me the keys, oh my God. Like, first off, like the whole thumbs up button. I mean, obviously you guys should hit that if you haven't already. We have over 700 people, only 179 likes, so be sure to do that.
Why does it exist?
But I just feel like it should be more prominent. Like, you should be able to have, like, you know how there's like banners like on Twitch and Kick? You know, I feel like there should be banners on the video where YouTube itself is reminding you, hey, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps the creators.
Well, you don't like sitting here like a used car salesman and be like, by the way, make sure you guys smash the thumbs up. It makes you feel like such a TikToker. It's a joke.
I feel like a tool. That's what I feel like, such a tool. And I'm just sitting here like, hey guys, also don't forget to like hit the thumbs up button. And I'm sitting here doing dances and shit. Like, I mean, obviously you got to do it now because I'm
Should I get the creator voice going? Don't forget to smash the creator button, bro.
Oh my God. Guys, don't forget to smash that like button. No.
You guys are not going to believe what I just saw. It ridiculous.
You will never understand anything. Like, you know. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's funny, but no, Mitchell, recently a member here. Thank you for the 2. Sometimes I think the Yankees need a team exorcism. I've actually seen this exact comment 5 times today.
Have you really?
Dead ass.
I saw it once in my DMs today. I just genuinely feel like they just need to send the Yankees to, like, you know how there's a chapel in every stadium? I don't know if people know this, but
you're saying
when you go on the road, right? Like when my dad's teams would fly in and you'd come in there, they usually would walk in the locker room and they'd say, hey guys, there's chapel over here if any of you guys are interested. The Yankees all just need to go down there and ask for forgiveness for what the hell is going on. It's genuinely embarrassing. And we hope this does improve. We assume it will. And this is just a blimp on the radar. I don't know what the hell that was. I know that was our title. What was that? Guys, we don't have no idea because these guys aren't that bad. They're not. Bird is not that bad. And to just go out there and crap down his leg, really bad timing. And Miguel Bautista, welcome in. Thank you for becoming.
Thank you.
Is that a Honda t-shirt?
I think it is.
Heck yeah. Love
that. Or it's an Acura, but it's like, I don't even know. I can't even tell.
Yeah, not sure. I would commit to Honda, but
I'm going to go with Honda.
Miguel, welcome in. Thank you for becoming a member here at Yankees Unloaded. Greatly appreciated. And Cedric with the 10 says, new member, appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you for all the thoughtful insight and information.
Thank you, Cedric.
And Cedric, thank you for being here. Of course, thank you for becoming a member as well. I will say that's the good part about our audience is that it's not really a casual experience. I feel like a lot of the Yankee shows, the reason we started the show in the first place is we felt like the majority of the shows we were watching were sort of just talking about a bunch of nonsense. Like, oh, Boone said this. Did you see this? And really more of covering Instagram clippable stuff.
I call it TMZ.
Yeah, TMZ podcasting, and it's just not that interesting to me. And to each of their own. There's different flavors for different people. Some people like vanilla. Some people like chocolate. I do not want to turn on that type of coverage. So we decided, instead of just moping and crapping on all the coverage and trying to dunk on it and saying whatever, why don't we just start a show where our audience can show up with some real, like, for example,
Do you remember that?
Drew Thorpe earlier bringing something to our attention, and then we make it a part of our show. So that's what this is supposed to be about. So again, guys, and if you haven't, please make sure to join our Discord. I'm not sure if we want to drop that as well, but our Discord has been great.
I did earlier. Thank you, Cedric. Yeah, so we'll hit that up. Yeah, do you remember that one dude, or I don't know, dudes that they posted the video that was just shitting on every Yankee creator?
I do remember that.
Except
yeah, it was
us.
a podcaster, which of course
so,
we're not going to say his name.
Yeah.
But he starts a podcast. Now, mind you, the whole premise of it is he just started clipping a bunch of Yankees creators who he probably thinks he should be more famous than in the space, which he'll never be, of course. And he's sitting there clipping all these people in hopes that people are going to watch it and go, yeah, those creators really do suck. We need something better. And we're going to go join your show. No, you're not. Just start your show and do it. And then the people will follow you if you actually put the time and effort into it. That's how this works. And so, yeah, he'll remain nameless as he was before he made the video as well. But again,
I remember I sent it to you and I was like, oh, this is real? Like, he was.
I thought we were going to be in the video, didn't you?
Yeah, that's actually why I continued to watch.
I was actually appalled.
Was it Bad Dog Sports in it? Our guy Bad Dog? Like, there was like,
I'm not sure. He would be able to tell you, I bet.
There was like every Yankee creator I've ever seen except for us. And I was like, oh, maybe he likes us. Or maybe
he wants a collab. Who knows?
Yeah. But no, it was wild, because I'll tell you one thing, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. My grandpa always said that to me, and I stand by it. We'll build what we build and let everyone else build what they build. And who knows, maybe someday we'll collab with them on a video or something, or have them on as a guest. But we're going to do our thing and they're going to do their thing. And, you know, the jury is out. You guys are the jury. You decide, you know. You vote with your dollar.
YouTube's a huge space, by the way. I mean, there's people I've talked to. I'm like, hey.
Oh, I know.
Have you heard of Mr. Beast? They're like, who's that? I mean, what do you mean you don't know who Mr. Beast is? He has more subscribers than there are Americans. And there's people out there, guys, who have no idea who these people are. So you should never be bothered. If you want to start a podcast, start the podcast. If you want to start a business, start it. Somebody else's success isn't going to mean a rip to you. And Neil, thank you for the 20. Also a member here at Yankees Unloaded.
Thank you, Neil.
Always nice to see some orange in there.
Yes.
Some different colors, looks like Skittles in our super chat. It says, why wasn't Weaver in there on 2 days rest? I thought these three were brought in as setup guys. Also, why was Cabrera in the outfield when he had Slater on the bench, who is a natural outfielder? So I'm going to answer the first part first, right? Mm-hmm. Weaver, in my opinion, I don't know how you guys feel about him. I don't think he's healthy. That's my take on it. Now, do I think he's unhealthy enough to go on the 10-day IL? I don't.
No.
But could his body use maybe a 4 or 5 day break? I don't know if you guys see the same thing I see, but he seems like a pitcher who's worn down in a way where he just hasn't gotten his feet up under him. And I actually introduced the idea about 2 or 3 days ago. I think Luke Weaver needs a little bit of a break. And this deadline where we brought in 4 or 5 bodies for our bullpen, yeah, that actually could be the best thing for him. So Neil, that was my explanation as to maybe why you didn't see him on 2 days rest. Jake, I don't know how you felt about that. Quick thoughts on the Weaver thing?
Yeah, I mean, I agreed with it. He needs some time. I don't think he's fully healthy either. I mean, you watch him, it's just not even the same pitcher. So I have no issue with it. If he's not, like, I know they've done it before with the Phantom, IL, but I don't think they're trying to go that route with Weaver. So I think they'd just rather give him a couple days and, see if that helps. And maybe they'll monitor it, but yeah, I wouldn't read too much into it where like, oh, he's about to go on the IL or anything like that. But I do agree with giving him some time. And I thought everybody that pitched today was supposed to pitch except for Johnny and, Hedrick. Yeah, I didn't mind that either. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. So I didn't have a problem with it. And so, yeah, again, didn't have a problem with the outfield thing because guess what? When we looked up the defense out in the outfield, it was fine. It was fine for a ball to go under your glove. I mean, it's little league stuff.
I don't get that. So Jonathan, I totally agree with you. Like, for whatever reason, there's this idea that David Bednar is mid, and it's all throughout the fan base, I've noticed. And that doesn't mean everybody, but it means there's a lot of people. I don't know where we get that from. Is it because he pitched in Pittsburgh? I mean, he's a 2-time All-Star. And again, I don't care about All-Stars really, but this is somebody who we went through the splits, Gary, and he's the second hottest pitcher in baseball going into this game, of course. And these 2 runs he gave up, it's the most runs he gave up from May 24th to July 31st.
That's comedy.
I know. As soon as he becomes a Yankee, and like now the stink is in. Like you
honestly is like when the Lakers signed some shooting guard, and they're like, "Hey, LeBron's gonna drive and kick." Whoever the shooting guard is that they went and got is just the worst shooter you've ever seen anymore. He's it's horrible. It's totally gone. So I agree with you. I think Bednar is a little underrated, and he didn't do anything to help his case.
No.
Today, I mean, he didn't even look mid. He looked just atrocious. So. But thank you, Jonathan, obviously, for bringing that to our attention. And Yankee Fangirl for Life says, we are cursed. Thank you for the 5. Also a member here. Bednar hasn't given up a home run since May and gives up one his first game with us. And I don't know if you guys heard it, if you were listening to the broadcast.
Super chat. It's so true.
Michael K. actually talked to, I believe, another broadcaster for the Marlins. And that broadcaster told him, I don't know if you knew this, Michael, and he probably didn't because, I mean, this is some super minute detail, is that he is atrocious in Miami. We're not sure what it is, but he's very bad. And obviously, I'm sure Michael K took it with a grain of salt and probably was like, wow, that's interesting, and then walked off.
Yeah.
And sure enough, as soon as he told us the information that he had learned, first pitch,
7 ERA.
Sayonara. Yeah, just way gone. It's honestly so amazing how that happens. So I thought that was interesting. It was very cool. I like that the Marlins broadcaster did give us that information. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And we know it'll be better. So John Kirk with the 5.
I'm not worried about Bednar.
No. Says, was that Angel Hernandez behind the plate? He sucked for both sides. Marlins have played a lot better than the Yankees in the last 30 games. Nightmare. Miriam completely agrees with you, and she is right. And John, you're absolutely right. You can't argue with the facts. The Marlins are playing better baseball. There are a lot of teams playing better baseball than the Yankees the last 30 days. And the Yankees were as aggressive as they were in the deadline to try and accommodate and make their team better so that that's no longer the case the next 30 days. And of course, we're off to a pretty nice start with those guys that we picked up. But to mention the umpire real quick here, Jake, before you weigh in, that umpire was horrible again, as John alludes to, both sides. There were so many pitches that Carlos Rodon threw that weren't even close to the plate. And they're just... The automated strike zone, I know next year we're getting the ABS system. The ABS system doesn't solve a damn thing. It is a challenge system.
No, it's just I get to do this twice a game.
That's nothing.
So you get the challenge too. And also think about this. It's like those timeouts on the field. Like you don't take a timeout if you're just a nobody in the NFL. Like you have to be the quarterback or somebody like a captain.
Right.
Otherwise you're going to get chewed out and probably cut. But think about that. If you have Jose Caballero who's hitting 9th and he just does this, you just challenged it. You only have 2. So now
is this binding, by the way, for that challenge system? Like the second you touch it, you can't take it back.
You signed a contract. Yep. So
they're gonna have to do instant replay, and there's gonna be someone who takes it back mid-pull.
Did he touch his head? He's like, nope.
And the Yankees would lose the challenge because we lose every challenge known to man.
No, like Volpe, like you know how he does that thing with his hair. Like it's like, oh yeah, no, I was just.
I had an itch. No, I just had an itch. That's what it was. I'm really sorry. Yeah, that's Judge, what it'll be.
You run out of challenges, the ABS system, and Judge gets like called out on something that's like way below, almost hitting the plate. And then they're like, yeah, you can't challenge it because you had Jose Caballero challenge one earlier.
Yeah, people think that because ABS is showing up, we have our solution. No, we're going to get our solution to the strike zone, a fully automated strike zone, probably sometime after the strike. There's going to be a strike in 2027. There's going to be owners saying, we want a salary cap. We want a salary cap, right? And then their players are like, we want a salary floor, not a salary cap. And then with that, when they come back from that hiatus, and we hope it's not long, because we don't want to be sitting around at Yankees Unloaded. It'd be ridiculous. Horrible for everybody. And having said all that, I don't know. The umpires eventually are just going to be completely gone. That's the only way you're going to get rid of the stench that was all over today's baseball. I don't even know how they scored 25 runs. I think this was only a good baseball game to, like, I don't know, somebody who saw their first game today. They're like, wow, that's so entertaining. So many runs scored.
It's so funny you bring that up. So we've had him in before. I stomp casuals for fun. I think he's actually sent like a super chat. He's definitely a Dodger fan, I believe. And obviously he follows me over from the Rams. And he's like, Jake is always complaining on X about the Yankees. So he tuned into this game because he wanted to see why I was complaining. This is the first game he watched full on about the Yankees and was like, oh, I get it now. Can you imagine?
Hell of a showcase.
What a showcase. Literally everything. Like, just...
Anthony Aceves, thank you for becoming a member here at Yankees Unloaded. Ton of new members. Guys, thank you for doing so. And Breezo27, we're also, as soon as we catch up on the Supers, we'll try and get to some of our live chat as well, because first and foremost, we're not going to have people spend money and then we just blow them off, act like sending us money is not a big deal. So thank you guys for being patient in our normal chat as well. Breezo27 with the 5 says, shout out Boone, but the bullpen going to be at their best once Duvall and Weaver get right. And some positivity there, and we agree. Yeah. This bullpen, in theory, should be good. Obviously, Matt Blake has some work to do with Duvall. He's got to get that control underway. And if you're going to be pitching in the Bronx, you can't be wild out of the pen in the 8th or 9th inning. Can't happen. And so we'll see what happens there. We've got control. We have time with some of these guys, but we don't want to just give up 2025 and hope that it changes in next year or the year after that. We want it to be good right now. So love some optimism there. That is awesome. And B-Rye, Jake, you can take this one.
B-Rye, appreciate you. To me, it's odd when you say to DFA Johnny when Bird has yet to have an ERA under 4. Unpopular opinion, but I still like Lowe. Also shut the door yesterday, which none of the new guys did today. That's absolutely fair. And my dad, actually, when I was visiting my parents earlier today, or I guess that was yesterday now, my dad was saying the same thing. He's like, you don't like Lowe, but he's got a better ERA than Bird. It's like Bird has close to a 5 ERA. And and he was saying, he's like, also, the control aspect. Like, so you're saying also, and I get this in a sense, you're saying Johnny Lowe doesn't have control. Well, neither does Bird. Like, no control whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, they didn't end up having to DFA Johnny Lowe. And you know what? If they don't have to DFA him, I'm okay with it. Like, I want him to work out. Gary and I went to bat for this player because he had to get Tommy John surgery last year. We were bummed about it. And then he came back and we were excited to see him come back, and he started off looking good. And then, he kind of did his usual thing. I mean, he's got some of the best stuff in the entire league, but his issue is that he can't control it. So same with Jake Bird, by the way. So totally get that. We'll see what ends up happening with those two. But
ironic, Johnny Lowe was pretty wild today as well. He practically destroyed someone's elbow.
Oh, dude, what the hell was that? Well, you just heard him go, ah! You don't normally hear that. Like, you could hear the dude screaming in pain. Although, to be fair, you get hit with something like that, especially it's breaking into you. The ball is spinning into you. So, yeah, it's kind of brutal. But no, we appreciate the super chat. I understand where you're coming from. They don't have to DFA Johnny. They didn't have to DFA anybody, really. They just released Marcus Stroman. And I think really right now, I'm not worried about the Yankees. I know that's a weird thing to say. I think today was just kind of a frustrating day. People have mentioned travel. So I wanted to bring this point up because I don't think we really ever explain where we go from here. And for me, I just think the Yankees will be fine. It sucked losing today's game. Absolutely sucked. This is the first time the Yankees have lost. By the way, I have this crazy stat here, courtesy of the Yes Network after the game. This is the first loss the Yankees have had, scoring 12-plus runs since August 18th, 1996. I was not even a 1.
Are you kidding me?
I'm dead serious.
And that, by the way, guys, this is part of what we were saying. It's such a shame that this team just completely crapped the pool here. You can't score 12 runs against anybody. At this time of the year, it should just be impossible to lose today's game. I don't even care if Bird didn't pitch at all, if Johnny Lowe threw 3 innings, if Stroman started the game. None of it matters. You can't give up 13 runs to anybody under any circumstance. So yeah, Boone made mistakes. The order, why'd you use him at all? Why didn't you close that guy? He should have been the first guy out. Yeah. Rodon was horrible. Every single guy that we traded for was horrible. And Johnny Lowe was the best. And he hit a guy in the elbow today. It's not like he was great.
Hedrick
and he was the best.
Better, but yeah.
Right. So the point is so many players were just horrible today, and most of it was the pitching. That's the whole thing that we tried to solve at the deadline, and a lot of us were happy. So, guys, I understand the frustration. I do. I'm just as frustrated. I mean, I literally, as soon as I saw this going on, I'm walking through Costco with the game on my phone, and I'm sitting here mother effing through Costco, and people are staring at me, and I forgot to scan my card, so that literally a lady had to come help me. So the Yankees have me off my mark walking through grocery stores. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about today's game. This is just horrible baseball in Little League. If you lose a game 13-12 in Little League, you're sitting next to your dad on the drive home and it's silence. That's what this is. This is on the bus ride, no laughs, nothing. Put your AirPods in and shut up. That's what this is. So Slim Lewis, again, can somebody please look for Slim? Yeah, I have no idea who this man is. People don't realize Slim has been here supporting this podcast for a while now. I want to give him a shout out, of course.
Yeah, of course.
It has not always been this way, so we're not sure what happened, if someone has him hostage. We don't know. So thank you, Slim, for the 2.
We're hoping he's okay, if that's
so Slim agrees with my mom here, and that's really what's happening here. Yanks will be great, and we hope so, because it's good for our podcast. It's good for every other Yankees podcast. We don't want this thing to end at the beginning of October, because if we're not a postseason team, of course, people can milk some content. Should this guy be fired or whatever have you? We don't really want that crap. We want to go into the championship series. We want to win. We want the taste of champagne. We want to be popping champagne on our YouTube show, and Jake has told me we can do so without getting banned. So that's what I want.
I think so. I mean, I drank a beer when the Rams won the Super Bowl. So
yeah, so we'll see what happens. I know you can't drink on commercials, so it's probably up in the air. But recent member of ours, Miguel Bautista, thank you for the 2, says, where was Slater to play over Caballero? We did answer that somewhat. I know that we are somewhat behind on these super, so that makes sense. But
wow, this is the most we've ever had, to be fair.
Yes, it is. So you guys have been awesome. Caballero is technically really good in right field. He's really good everywhere he plays. So there's no reason, if you had thrown, like we said, Jason Dominguez out in the outfield, and maybe a player who's maybe not the best glove made a mistake that egregious, you can justify looking at Aaron Boone and saying, man, what the hell was that? Why did you put him there? Yeah. Well, you put a good fielder in a position where he's supposed to be good, and then a ball's hit to him, you should be able to relax and say, hey, he's going to take care of it. And he just didn't take care of it, Jake. So unfortunate. No. I'm assuming you didn't have a problem with Boone there.
No. This is exactly why they got Caballero. Okay, if they're asking him to come in and pinch hit for Ben Rice against a righty, I'd be like, all right, what are we doing here, right? But they're asking him to come in, pinch run for Ben Rice. Ben Rice runs well, but you, in that sense, in that point in the game, you want to run at least, right? You're just trying to take the lead. Well, guess what? That's like having Dave Roberts, who was on the Red Sox and gave the Yankees fits. That's like having him on the base paths. Dude's electric. He's stealing more bases than anybody in the league. So it's not that Ben Rice was slow. It's that Aaron Boone was like, I'm going to use what's at my disposal and what's going to give me the best chance to win. Could he have stuck with Rice? Sure. But this is what I was talking about, and this is why I'm actually glad there's a sign. I mean, again, things I didn't like, things I did. File this under things I did like. You know? I hate it for Boone because now people who don't understand, and I'm not saying you guys in the chat, but people that don't understand the game are going to be like, oh, but we lost this because Boone put Caballero in. No, he's got a 5 DRS. He started over 20 games in right field. Like, this isn't just a guy who's like, that's the problem is people will remember him going against the Rays. He was playing shortstop. He was playing second. He was playing third. They didn't see him in the outfield. Although here's the thing. He did play outfield. Do you know why I remember this? Because he robbed Ben Rice of his home run. That was him. He can play a really good right field.
I'm really glad you bring this up because you're talking about essentially the premise of, hold on a second, we're just going to, in wins, we're going to act like Boone didn't do anything and we won in spite of him. And then when we lose, he didn't pull the right strings. Exactly. Technically, if Cody Bellinger is in right field and makes an error, overthrows the cutoff man, now I wish Cody Bellinger was in center, not right field.
Yes.
The game doesn't work this way. That's essentially the premise that we're arguing, is that a great defender at the position made a horrible mistake that cost us a game, if we're being honest. And now we don't want him to be in that situation because he didn't come through in hindsight. So that's just not what Aaron Boone can do. I promise you guys, if he was able to tell the future, he would just go win the Powerball and then just probably retire and go off to Barbados. He wouldn't be worried about us. I'm here to tell you right now. So Miguel, thank you for the question. At least it tees up the idea that Boone is at fault for a lot of things that happen with this team. That, unfortunately, that play right there, it's honestly, it's not his fault. It's just not. And B. Rye, thank you for the 5. Says first start of the year, Rodon didn't complete at least 5 innings pitched. That's a good bit of information. It feels like he's not going very far past that, which is the unfortunate part. But yeah, again, good information. Slim Lewis with the 5 says a 9-year-old playing Stratomatic could look at Goldschmidt's splits and realize he shouldn't hit versus right-handed pitching. Perhaps Boone fears Rice's D at first base. So what can you pull up the numbers real quick on Ben Rice? I'm curious, what does Savant say? Because Savant kind of totals up the defense. They don't really, will it tell you first base strictly and then catcher, or is it only going to tell you everything?
No, it's going to tell you everything, but he's above average in both combined. So he's probably a better first baseman than a catcher, but let's see if I can find, fielding.
What's so interesting about that, though, is if you're telling me that he's good enough at first base to kind of outweigh somewhat poor defense at catcher, then there's no justification for Ben Rice not playing. And then if the defense is good enough at catcher,
Ben Rice
it's really not that good at first.
Fielding run value.
Right, so...
Yeah, he's actually... All right, you know where Ben Rice is ranked?
Where's he ranked?
10th. So, hold on a sec. 1 sec here. So, Ben Rice... Wait. What the hell? Hold on a sec.
I just think if Ben Rice is good enough at first base to be league average over there, Paul Goldschmidt's not that much better
right now. Now, Paul Goldschmidt has played way more than Ben Rice, to be fair. But Ben Rice is in the he's positive 1. He's 10th. He's tied with the likes of Ryan Mountcastle, Alec Boehm, Justin Turner, right? Reese Hoskins. So Jonathan Aranda, he's actually higher than. The only guys ahead of Ben Rice are Jared Triolo, Enmanuel Valdez, Spencer Steer, Spencer Horowitz, Wilson Contreras, Ryan O'Hearn, Ty France, Carlos Santana, and the best first baseman defensively, Matt Olson.
Right, so I would assume short sample size is probably why it's as good as it is. But having said that, at the very least, you're not going to hide an objectively bad defender. And he's in a short sample size going to be a good defender. Just not going to happen. Jason Dominguez is a perfect example of this. As we go for the next 7 days of baseball, let's just say his next 7 starts. If you could start the defensive run save metric between those games, I can guarantee you Jason Dominguez in that 7 games will not be a +2 defensive run save. He just won't be. I'm here to tell you. It tends to be pretty static, and there's gradual improvement over time. Very gradual. So I think at the very least, those numbers that you just brought up, Jake, tells the story that Ben Rice is good enough at first base. There's no justification at all that he doesn't play at first base every day.
No.
There's no justification.
No, there's simply not. By the way, in case you're wondering about Ben Rice catching, +1. So What I would say is he's probably an average defender.
Yeah.
I know.
I want to put this up
positive
on the
in
screen,
both,
by the way.
Yeah.
Because B Toxic brings up,
JC
okay,
Escara.
but who would be the backup catcher if Wells gets hurt? Well, this is the way I look at it. First base isn't a taxing position. If you're in a position where you think Ben Rice is a good enough catcher to catch, and they've shown us they believe in him back there, they'll put him back there, well, then Ben Rice will just catch. And if Paul Goldschmidt has to play in case of an emergency, then he plays. He's not horrible. He's not a bad baseball player. He's just not as good as our other option at the position. That's what we're telling you. So, yeah, Toxic, I'm glad you brought this up in the chat. I am trying to read them as well as catch up to our supers. But I will tell you, if players get hurt, you need to start shuffling names. Okay, my first baseman can catch. Okay, come catch. I've got multiple first basemen. We can accommodate for that injury. And then maybe Escara can come back up, right? So you have, as Jake's saying, you have options there. So
yeah,
I just don't understand the concept that we're somewhat stuck here, right? Stuck in this position. I don't think we are.
No. I think, like, when I brought up earlier trading away 3 catchers and Austin Wells and everything, it was more so, would they have done that if they were worried about Austin Wells long term? No. They don't trade. They do not trade Flores if they're worried about Austin Wells' hand long term. This is a year thing, which honestly could really hurt them, right? But if they were worried about this like long term nerve damage or whatever, they wouldn't have traded Flores.
No, definitely not. You want something behind him, right?
Because they gave away another catcher. They traded 2 catchers to the same team. They wouldn't have done that. They would have just traded Ben Hess, who pitched well today, by the way.
We've been getting rid of catchers. I mean, getting rid of so many quality catchers, and we mean quality catchers, not both offensive and defense. They tend to be quality defenders, right? JC Escara, typically
you
probably a
better hitter. You want to talk about that real quick?
About what?
What's his name? Augustine Ramirez. Because we kind of had a little chat about that.
Of how bad the defense is
it's
from
horrendous.
Ramirez. Can you believe it? I mean,
that
the Yankees
was the
clearly.
Red Sox stealing against Jose Trevino last year.
I was going to bring that up. Brilliant.
I mean, we're always on the same page, even when like we have the force or whatever mind thing.
It essentially was a complete discovery and understanding that the game plan has just unraveled. That's what it was. A player is so deficient at one thing that, guys, they can't do anything to stop this. They can't. It's like a running back running for 200 yards in the first half and then showing up to the third quarter. What do you think you're going to do?
Yeah.
We're going to run the ball. The whole halftime, they're talking about, all right, we're going to pack the box. We're going to make sure all safeties are in the box. Everything. We're going to do everything to stop the run. That's what we saw. We get out on the bases, and the Yankees have sort of teed us up for this game plan that we're going to run opportunistically, and we're even going to force the run game on you. We got into this game. Come on.
13 stolen bases in the last 4 games.
Beautiful.
So, you know, they've been at it. They had 5 of those today. I like Augustine Ramirez, rooting for him, right? But the reality is, this is why the Yankees traded him. I know he ended up winning the game today on a dribbler out like literally it was a swinging suicide squeeze. I've never seen anything like it. But I mean it was, right? But the thing is, and we know he can hit the crap out of the ball every now and then, but he's a 240 guy who's going to hover, you know, kind of around the 800 to, you know, below 800 OPS. And he's not going to play a lick of defense. I mean, that's not even Gary Sanchez. So that's why they traded him. And they ultimately had to make the discussion. They had to have the, you know, internal discussions. Who's going to be our catcher of the future? Austin Wells went through this. Escara went through this. You know, Narvaez, I'm sure, was a part of this. And they decide, look, Narvaez, we like him. We have a surplus. We're going to trade him. We're going to go out and get this, you know, Elmer Rodriguez Cruz kid who, man, I can't believe he's only 21. He looks so good. But this is the point, is that when you're good, and clearly the Yankees are facilitating like all the catchers in the league at this point, you know, I mean, hey, I'm going to trust what their judgment is on that one. And plus, Ben Rice, I think, is a better catcher than giving credit for, and he doesn't have to be the full-time catcher. So I think they're in a good spot, Gary. I do, and as long as Wells, and again, this is the biggest thing. because I almost have, even though it's bad news to hear about Wells still dealing with that, and it sucks that he's dealing with that just as a human being, but as long as that's not long term and it's just this year, that kind of gets me excited of what he can be in the future.
Yeah, I'm not quite as excited about him. It's more so about just the player in general, what he's done long term. He's very streaky, right? You've talked about some of the months he's had in August, right? He'll just turn it on. You're like, oh, this is the player I could get. And that player, when he's got it going, you saw some flashes of it towards the middle of this year, towards the break. You're like, oh, I think I can see the vision. And then all of a sudden you hear about this nerve issue. We're not sure, is that the reason for the performance or not? Or is it just a regression? We don't know, right? They won't tell us. And if it's such an issue, he shouldn't be playing. He's not good enough to play through a major injury. So that's essentially kind of what I'm getting at with the player. Obviously, I'm not as high on Austin Wells as you are, but I mean, he's a good player when he's got it going. Unfortunately,
I've toned
he just
it
doesn't
down
right now.
I've definitely toned it down a little bit because there hasn't been a month where he hit 280 or 300 like last year. So yeah, the ceiling
hasn't necessarily been there the way we would like it. And B. Rye, thank you for the 5. And he's mentioning Carlos Rodon here, trying to at least come to the defense of Rodon. Says atrocious, because that was my comment. No hits until the 5th. He labored, lousy control. I wouldn't call it atrocious. I would. And here's why. If I look up at your total outing, what does it matter if you gave up 3 hits in the first, you didn't give up any runs, 2 hits in the second, 3 hits in the third, and you've given up 10 knocks. None of them scored. Your job's run prevention. That's the only job. Run prevention. And you end up giving up 4 runs in the final inning of work, and you say, oh, instead of 4 2/3 with 2 hits and 4 runs, it was 10 hits. It's not any better because you surrendered all these runs. That's your job. Your job is to go deeper into the game, which Jake was just saying. That's what we want. That's what we need. Clearly, this team needs that. And you come in here after multiple poor starts consecutively.
Yeah.
And you're going to show up here and you're not going to have your stuff. How many of the last 6 starts did he not? You mentioned lousy control. There's no pitcher in this game that has lousy control where you can say it wasn't atrocious. It's atrocious.
He said he sucked.
He said he sucked. So if you don't like me saying he was atrocious, well, then we'll use the adjective sucked from him. So let him speak for himself. I will commit to that. He sucked tonight. And that doesn't mean he sucks as a baseball player as a whole. No. It's none of that. But he knows when you're getting into August, we were, Jake, I believe, 3.5 games before when today started behind the Blue Jays. It's a big start. Same thing we said about Fried's last outing. You need to go out there, and Fried wasn't perfect, but he stayed on the mound and we scored. We were scoring runs. And so that's the deal here. And my mom is not high.
Your mom was killing me in the
comment section. She's not high on the whole Jazz. She thinks Jazz Chisholm's whole deal is more so an act. Now, mind you, Jazz has a ton of antics. And I'm curious, Jake, what you think of them. So I'm going to read this super. My mom says, thank you for the 5, Mom. Says, Jazz acts like he's an all-star at the all-star game and needs to be more focused. Thinks he is Barry Bonds with the clown face. Stop yucking it up with opposing teams, smiling, play ball. So I'm going to say this about Jazz real quick here before I kick it over to you, Jake. It kind of reminded me a lot of when I watched Juan Soto and the team's down like 4-0 in the 8th and he's just smiling with the catcher. I don't think he's completely showing up the game or he's being that cocky per se. It's more so of just how he's always like this. And when it doesn't work or we just don't win as a unit, it kind of bothers you to see somebody having so much fun in the midst of so much crappiness going around them. So I'm curious what you think about Jazz. Like, are you totally fine with how he plays, his style? I mean, obviously the brim of his hat, he looks like a skateboarder. What do you think about this player? Not the player, but more so the character of Jazz Chisholm.
Is it weird that I don't give a rip? I mean, my mom always it's like that's her favorite player. She loves Jazz Chisholm, okay?
Right.
But the thing is, she doesn't like when he throws the bat. She doesn't like when she says he acts immature. I don't care if he gets results. I mean, right now he's been an average player in July. I mean, 759 OPS, 247 batting average. In June, he was hitting 318, a 991 OPS, and looking like a legitimate star. Okay, so if I see more of star Jazz Chisholm, well, I don't give a hell about what he does. I don't care. You know?
I have never heard that in my life. I don't give a hell.
I don't give a hell. You know what I mean? So that's my thing. Like, as long as he is producing, I'm not going to care. But I also, Gary, I've never cared about that part, you know. I mentioned it when he was struggling at the beginning of the year, and it seemed like every single at bat he would strike out, knowing he was going to strike out. He's already preparing to yell at the umpire. Look, I can't stand the umpires. I want to send them all to Mars. I can't stand all of them, right? But I also feel like at some point or another, it's not about, you know, showing up the umpire. It's not even about respect. It's about the fact that now I believe as a viewer, all of your emotion, all your energy is on the wrong thing. You're focusing on the umpire. You're now not taking accountability for your lack of production. You're blaming it on the umpire. That's what you're doing. And look, you can say all you want. You're just venting. You know, you're trying to find an outlet to your stress. No, because the way it comes across is I'm not fulfilling what I'm fulfilling, but I'm going to look at the umpire and say, what's he not doing? No. So, and it's no different than Rodon. We said it last year. When Rodon would give up a home run and he'd bark at the catcher or he'd bark at the umpire, or, you know, there's a double play there. It's no different than when Stroman was yelling. I don't like it when it's not working. If you, like, as long as Jazz, if he finishes the season hitting 250, he hits 26 home runs, and he has an OPS over 800, he can do whatever the hell he wants, because as far as I'm concerned, that's a pretty good year for him. But
my mom agrees with that, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not reading her chat, but I know for a fact that if Jazz is playing great baseball, my mom doesn't care if he's jumping around like a fool.
And obviously
at home
that wasn't
plate.
directed
Doesn't
at
care.
Lauren. Love Lauren. Like, she'll text me during games and stuff. Like, I consider Lauren, your mom, a friend. Okay, so I'm not crapping on your mom or my mom for that matter. I'm just saying I see it a lot. Jazz is always under the gun for whatever reason. I do feel like it's because he is different than everyone else. The way he carries himself, you know, he's rocking the chains. Now, keep in mind, there was a guy that rocked the chains last year, but he also was aiming, it seemed like, every single pitch. He would hit it into the dirt, and he would just be killing fire ants all game. I'm talking about
Verdugo.
Alex Verdugo. So, yeah, like, eventually Araboud's like, all right, that chain is absolutely ridiculous. They had him on the ESPN, the mic'd up. You could hear the chain hitting the mic.
Oh,
Ridiculous.
it was so stupid.
It's so dumb. But Jazz, like, he has a piece. It's a little big. He's got like a neon belt. He's got a neon arm sleeve. That's kind of baseball in 2025. I
think
care.
it looks stupid.
I
think it looks so stupid. If you play like elite baseball, I think I could just totally get over it and I don't care. Like you were saying, when he was hitting 320 for a month, I never once thought about the fact that every single time the ball's high, he's jumping around like a banshee, and then the ball's in the dirt, and he's doing like this little hybrid shuffle, kind of like Juan Soto. Like, even Juan Soto, when he's doing the shuffle, let's use that as an example.
Yeah.
It's considered by viewers, the majority, as a cocky gesture. And what he's really doing is he's just having fun, and he's obviously getting engaged and taking the at-bat serious. That's what he does, right? It's a little hybrid of all of that. But if Juan Soto's hitting 210 for his career, and then he was doing the shuffle, he looks stupid, right? So that's kind of the premise. If you play good baseball, highly quality baseball, there won't be one person in a chat talking about what Jazz is doing. If you're wearing a neon belt, right, your hat looks like, I don't know if you guys saw Kingsman, it looks like Samuel Jackson, where the brim of his hat is just off the top of his head. It looks absolutely ridiculous. But when you're hitting 310, I won't talk about it. But obviously, if you're not playing as good a baseball, it makes it a topic of conversation. And of course, Verdugo going out with a $50,000 chain on, blinged out, and all the other baseball players look professional, and you're the one guy who's hitting the worst, and your defense isn't as good as they told us. Now the chain isn't so fun anymore. Now it just looks like a gimmick and it's stupid. So Jazz, like, if he just plays better. Flava Flav, yeah. It looks stupid. It looks so dumb. Just play better baseball. It looks much better when you're playing good.
I mean,
same
Alex
thing with
Verdugo,
Ronald Acuna.
not Jazz, but, you know. Jazz,
Well, no, I think Jazz looks
Jazz's
stupid
piece,
too if he's playing.
Yeah,
he's
I mean,
playing bad.
Jazz's piece is pretty big, but it's not like Verdugo used to wear 3 giant ass chains to the point where it's like, what is happening?
Yeah, I will say Jazz has to play great baseball to be playing the style that he plays, and I'm rooting for him. I mean, I like Jazz Chisholm on this team. We've said this a million times. So, yeah, play better ball. It won't look quite as stupid. Slim Lewis says, Volpe, thank you for the 5. Volpe is starting to show some swagger. Jake mentioned this earlier. He needs to keep that up. I think his mental game is improving from going through all the struggles, that he obviously went through. Now, mind you, you can't show swagger if you're not performing. So performance is the first part of that. You can't throw 3 picks in the NFL and then throw the touchdown chain on. Yeah, you can't have swagger. You have to perform first. That's the first part of the job. So Volpe's performance is starting to take a turn for the better. And then now you saw, as Jake brought up earlier, him start saying, you guys can sit down, you guys can relax, I've got us. That was nice to see. Again, not a kid. This is a grown man. He's dealing with a lot of pressure. He's dealing with the possible fact that the Yankees acquired a shortstop at the deadline, right? Maybe not one who can start over him, but it's at least opening up the door. You bring in McMahon. Now it seems like Volpe might be the next guy out the door. Oh, he knows that. And so the fact that he's responding in this way, good for him. And this is exactly what you have to do. It's part of the job. Pressure's on you. I don't know how you feel about it, Jake, but good to see someone react positively to pressure.
Yeah, exactly. I really, what I like so much about seeing Volpe start to get some, enthusiasm back into his game and everything is, again, we saw a player who could be very valuable in October if last year wasn't a fluke. This first ever appearance in the playoffs, he looked ready for the moment. If you told me Anthony Volpe, of all players, would hit 280 in the World Series, I would have said you were crazy. If you told me Anthony Volpe, of all players, would hit that home run, I'd say you were crazy. But Anthony Volpe came through in the World Series and gave the Yankees a legitimate shot to make history. In the next game, I'm not going to get into it, but we know they had a shot. So that's the thing. If he can get going, he's a valuable player in October based on the limited opportunities that he's had and he's succeeded with. Yeah. So, yeah, the glove, I mean, now we're talking Jameis Winston, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions type stuff,
Yep.
So, I mean, Jameis Winston, I mean, the Giants are trying to get a Godfather. I don't know if you saw that. The Giants are they're like, we'll only trade him Godfather offer. It's like he's your backup quarterback. But anyway, Jameis Winston, he will throw 6 touchdowns, but he might throw 6 picks in a game.
Wasn't his first pass of his NFL career a pick 6?
Oh, I think it was. Was it his or Mariota? Because they came out in the same draft.
I'm not sure about Mariota, but
I think you're right.
I'm pretty sure he threw a pick 6 just from his own 20. So obviously somebody in the chat's going to have to help us out there, but I'm pretty sure he threw a pick 6, which is so Jameis, and then eventually he gets LASIK and the rest is history. So, yeah, but we'll get to this. Obviously, we have a new member here. Dillinger, thank you for becoming a Yankees Unloaded member. And
that's a trippy looking logo. Damn.
It is wild.
The upside down New York.
It's kind of cool.
I kind of dig it. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of, I noticed it because I always have a lot of LA people around me, but the Dodger.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. The upside down Dodger hat, right? Have you seen that?
I have seen it.
What is that all about? Yeah, I see it everywhere. Everyone in LA wears that.
I don't know. I've been told not to wear any hats in LA. So
hats in LA.
Any hats. They're like,
told
don't
not
wear
to
any
pop
hats.
my chain because I almost got mugged in downtown LA. It was like, give me your chain. Like, yeah. So that's the only thing I've been told. Yeah, don't be popping that chain out.
If you talk to people, they'll tell you don't wear any hats. There's a ton of affiliations down there in LA. So. Which obviously we are not affiliated. I don't even know if I can wear my black tee. I only wear this shirt. This is like a Costco bundle. I get 20 of these t-shirts and I wear them every day. So still probably would get in trouble in LA. But Dillinger, thank you for becoming a Yankees Unloaded member. Greatly appreciated. And Frankie Sinatra, welcome back. Says thank you for the 50. Says hello. We've been trying to reach you on your car's extended warranty. Please return your calls or we will owe the IRS back taxes. Love the show, fellas. So Frankie, thank you for that. It's greatly appreciated.
You, Frankie.
Yeah, we don't normally see pink supers, but we really appreciate when you guys care about our show and you want to invest in our show. So thank you for doing that. Anthony, God, we have a lot to catch up on. This is nuts. Anthony, thank you for becoming a Yankees Unloaded member.
Anthony, appreciate you. Yeah, we have so many supers. This is the most we've ever had. There's no way.
It definitely is. And Drew Thorpe, who's a mod of ours, obviously gave us the great bit earlier. Very thought-provoking, but thank you for the 10. Says Yankees will win 10 of their next 12. Book it. We're going to hold you to that. We've got technically, Jake, I don't know if this is exactly correct, but I believe we have one of the weakest schedules the rest of the way. How weak is that schedule again?
It's fourth, I think, in the league.
Fourth weakest schedule. So if you're in a position where I think right now,
Toronto's the inverse, by the way. Toronto's like the 7th strongest, I think they're going up against.
Where are we exactly in the standings?
Well, right now, I think
3.5.
Yeah, 3.5.
Okay, so
back.
if you're 3.5 games back of the Toronto Blue Jays, who have the best record in baseball, they're tied for Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys can't run them down with the 4th weakest schedule in the league, you have bigger problems. So I'm with you, Drew. I'm hopeful for what's going to happen. I said before today started, I think the Yankees are going to come back and win this division. Narrowly, I'll add. But that's where we are. We've deserved to be where we are. We've thrown away a ton of games. That's on us. That's on our management, on our general management, on all the staff, all the players. That's their screw up. And now we'll cover, hopefully, a comeback. And yeah, Drew, I'm with you there. And Jake, I assume you're high on this team here in the future, whether it be about the talent or the schedule.
Yeah, I definitely am. By the way, here is very, very small, so apologies there. Jeez. Maybe that's a little too... All right, there we go.
That's perfect right there.
Yeah, we love that. Okay, so he says... So Drew says 10 in the next 12. Book it. So I would imagine Drew has the Yankees bouncing back and winning both games against Miami. And I actually kind of feel like they do. Schlittler and Heel are going to give them good starts. The bullpen's going to be better. Yeah, I do think they win those. Winning 2 against Texas, right? Because you're going to have to drop 1. So this is 5 games right here. So I would imagine he probably has them losing 1 game in that area. You got Fried versus Patrick Corbin. You got Eovaldi versus Warren and Rodon versus Jack Leiter. I like the Yankees 2 games to 3. So, you know, where does that have us? 4-1. So then next up is Houston. So that would be 8 games right there. Schlittler versus Gordon, Heel versus Valdez, Fried versus, I don't know, Chuck Norris, who knows? So you have these 3 at the stadium. I kind of feel like they're going to lose this series to Houston. I feel like they're due because they've had Houston's number recently. But I think Houston's playing really good baseball, so I'll probably take Houston. So, all right, so this is how I would have it. Win these 2, win 2 of 3 here. So you're at 4-1. You win 1 of these, so you're at what? 5-3. And then 2 against Minnesota. They win the first 2. So yeah, it's 7-3. Drew has winning 10 and 12. So at that point, you'd have this game be part of, and then this game. So he would have him losing only 2 games of these. So 1 against the Cardinals, a full series against Minnesota, full series against Houston, Texas, and then Miami. I'll tell you right now, Minnesota traded everyone away except for their fans, and they honestly tried to do that too. If the Yankees lose to Minnesota, they lose this series, that is unacceptable.
Well, I wouldn't put it past us, because I'll tell you guys right now. Obviously, Itchy Nuts in the chat. Great. It says Yankees are 26-28 on the road. Good luck. And this is a part of it, right? Your record on the road is somewhat of an indication of how much resolve you have. It's not easy to go on the road. You have to travel first and foremost, and you got to get ready to play. It's an advantage playing at home. Everybody understands this. But if you're going to go on a win streak, you've got to be able to take care of business on the road. And the Yankees, especially when you got some shoddy, relief pitching, you're not going to find ways to win. Pitching tends to travel better than offense, and obviously, I guess that we didn't get the memo today, right? You go out there and score 12 runs. You'd like to believe, like, okay, we brought in all these pitching additions. That should be exactly what we want to go to Miami. Everyone caught their flights. Everyone's ready to pitch, and apparently they were not ready to go. So in order... I mean, look at that. You're talking about at Cardinals, at Cardinals, right. At Cardinals, at Rays.
Whoever booked this 2-game set should be thrown in prison.
I would love to go to that game, by the way. I would love to go. Which one? I would probably say the 19th.
Oh, it's in Tampa, though.
Yeah, I would love to go to it.
Are you going to New York at all? We should go to a game if you do.
I mean, I would love to. I do have a daughter to watch, but I mean...
Yeah, that's true.
She can watch herself. She's 13 months now. She's probably old enough.
I mean, maybe this series
that would be
dope.
fun.
This series would be great. Well, yeah. Maybe, I don't know. We got a full September, too, by the way. That's kind of cool. All right. Should it have been Slater in the 9th? I don't like doing that. I understand the way people, feel, and I get it. But I agree with Caballero being in right field because his body of work tells me he should have made the play, and not even just made the play, just put the ball in his glove. Like it wasn't an out, It wasn't
like
hit.
he had to make a somersault to get to the baseball, guys. It wasn't a big time play. It was you're talking about just fielding the ball and not having it go under your glove. That's a disaster. And I don't know if you guys have played outfield before, in Little League, whatever have you. If you've played outfield, I guarantee you it's happened to you before, at least at the beginning of your career, where a ball just rolls underneath your glove and you got to turn around and make that daunting jog back to the wall. One of the worst plays in baseball. So it sucks.
I felt so bad for him when you see him and you see the full 72 when he's running back, and that feels, I will tell you, I've been there. It feels like the longest run in ever. It doesn't matter.
You almost don't even want to sprint.
I know. If you're Usain Bolt, it feels like you are quite literally running in place. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how fast you are. In that moment, you feel like you're in the Sahara Desert. You're tired. You're exhausted. And you're like, I give up.
Yeah, it's not the play. If you have your girlfriend come to your baseball game, it's not the play you want to make.
No.
So definitely disappointing. And, one of your first games with the Yankees.
Not
what he saw when he was a kid, of course. So Yankee fan 27. Love the picture, by the way. Old school of Cody Bellinger with his dad, Clay. Awesome picture right there. And B-Rye became a Yankees Unloaded member. Welcome in, B-Rye. Thank you for doing so. And John with the super with the 5 says, been driving, missed out on the start of the show. No big deal. You're here now. All of Cashman's big time deals poop the bed. He's getting that terminology from me. What did you expect? Fire Cashman. So John is definitely not happy with the deadline. Probably wanted Mason Miller. Probably wanted Duran, right? Which I'm not going to tell you guys that you shouldn't have wanted them. They're at the top of the market for a reason. We wanted them. Jake predicted we were going to get Duran. And he's not a fortune teller. He was just telling you, I think this makes a lot of sense for us to go big game hunting. You say we're a win now team, but the Yankees, in hindsight, they picked up a lot of pretty good, right? In Bednar's case,
he got the save against
did he
the
really?
Tigers. Yes, against the Tigers.
I want to watch that. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, he came in. He had the whole everything, right? The whole intro and everything that he does. They blacked out.
Oh my God, it's insane. Yeah, it's
so
nuts.
Great, dude.
Yeah,
think about how much goes into that. How much planning, and the Philadelphia Phillies crew at the stadium, the stage crew, or whatever. They must have been just preparing for it all night. Oh yeah, we just got Duran, so guess who's working overtime?
Yeah. Do you know how good, by the way? Just looking forward to the future, because I know you predicted Philadelphia to be in the World Series, and so did I. Mm-hmm. But do you know how entertaining it's going to be? And I'm still rooting for them in the National League, at least. How entertaining a Padres-Phillies series would be.
That is my LCS.
That would be insane. I mean, the crowds, first of all, Philadelphia's crowd's nuts. Yankee Stadium's crowd's nuts. right? San Diego is nuts in the postseason. They are. They have great atmosphere there at Petco Park. So I'm looking forward to all this. Mind you guys, and John, I'm guessing, John wanted the heavy hitters, right? He didn't want to come in with Bird. He didn't want to come in with Duvall. Very, good pitchers. Not Bird isn't necessarily good yet. But some of the guys we brought in, Bednar, right? These are good pitchers, and you wouldn't have known it watching today's game. And I'm assuming John did catch the game. He was late to our show, but seems like he wasn't late to the game, and he probably wishes it was the other way around. But
yeah.
But Sivia, thank you for becoming a Yankees Unloaded member. Greatly appreciated. And thank you as well for the 2. Awesome there. And Scott Ross has recently become a Yankees Unloaded member, and we have done it. We have caught up.
Ta-da!
And we're able. Yeah, so thank you guys so much, of course, for supporting our channel. And again, if you're here, we had almost 800 people in here for almost 2 hours. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure you guys like the video. As Mom says, you always got to listen to Mom. Make sure you guys become, not members, I guess, so you can do that if you want, but make sure you guys subscribe to the channel because we are giving away a Yankees jersey of your choice. And it's probably, I know my mom was super disappointed. She texted me bright and early and said, I just can't believe it. My guy, Marcus Stroman, is gone. If she wins the jersey, she's not going to be able to, I guess she technically could, right? She can customize it and put
Volpe
0 on there.
E6. Did you
Who sent that? Yeah, I sent that to you.
No, I sent that to you.
You sent it to me. I sent it to my mom. That's who I sent it to.
It was somebody, and I want to give credit because it was somebody that was actually following me. Shelly Tomasi.
Oh, that's right. I retweeted it. That's right.
895, I think it says.
That was hilarious.
So funny. I felt bad because, obviously we just gave Volpe credit, but I had to mention it because it was just hilarious. And
it's a funny tweet. Just because you go 4 for 5 doesn't mean now you're absolved from humor.
No. I'm aware. I just, Stroman, and I told you, maybe it's just me, but I kind of felt bad for Stroman because people kept playing his reaction to getting all those guys back. And he's doing the whole hand gesture, man, yeah, I'm really looking forward to, got a lot of dogs or whatever, a lot of high-end bullpen guys. And it's oh, yeah, you're not included. Bye-bye. So it's one of those things, man, where, I know a lot of people were dogging on him, and we had our moments of, yeah, he was kind of frustrating at times. I'm a starter. Literally will not let that go. But I still felt for the human being because it's I don't know, you're excited about the group project and everything, but you got voted off the island type shit. So it's oh yeah, you all have your you were a big part of it, and then they're just oh well, we got other people and you're actually not included. But you don't. I
feel like that's really nice of you to bring that up because I don't feel that way at all, and maybe I'm just not that nice. Maybe maybe my mom didn't raise an empathetic enough person because when I saw Marcus Stroman release, I didn't feel anything. I feel like at some point or another, and mind you, I don't think he's a bad person. I just don't think he's that likable. He's just not. I don't think the players dislike him. I don't really think it's that. But just the way you come across, obviously, in the media and what you say, I'm not talking about his tweets. I don't care about his social media presence. Social media doesn't mean a damn thing. Nothing for any of us. But when you step up on a mic and you're hey, I'm not a starter, or I'm not a reliever, I'm a starter, but you don't do your job exceptional enough for you to actually be calling the shots, well, how am I supposed to sit here and shed a tear for you when you get released? I'm sorry. I just can't do that. And by the way, I do see it in the chat. I want to bring it up. I see it. I want to jump it up here. It's right here. I know that. So Virtual, I believe a Dodgers fan who's here and obviously a great fan of ours, says, obviously talking about Lauren, says, it's funny that you dog Jazz for how he acts when Machado is on your team. Now, here's the premise that a lot of people don't really understand, but it's just the truth. If you play Hall of Fame level baseball, you can act how you want for the most part. If Barry Bonds acted the way he acted as a player, now mind you, Barry Bonds was not a nice guy. on the field. Maybe off the field, much nicer guy. Obviously, I did know him off the field. Fun fact, he was actually my godfather. A lot of people don't know that. But Barry Bonds, in the media, he didn't treat the media that well. Well, imagine if Barry Bonds was hitting 245 with an ops of 775. The media would be looking around going, who is this jabroni? Who does this guy think he is? And so not everyone gets to act the same. So your act may work for you. Juan Soto can do the shuffle, but if he was hitting 231 every year, well, maybe that act is tiresome. Maybe Francisco Lindor always having a smile on his face, and people like that, right? They like that aspect of his game. They talk about it almost every day, right? And they do it because he's a great player. But if all of a sudden, imagine if Peraza was smiling every day. Do you think we'd give a rip? If he was smiling at third base this year, we don't care, right? It would actually start to piss people off. So I get the concept. You would like to believe that all these players can kind of just act however they want. But performance is, like Jake says, it's the biggest part of it. If you perform, if you're Jazz Chisholm, you can put your hat backwards for all we care.
Oh, you know who loves this sentiment? My dad. Because in football, when you get those corners that are like this and nothing happened, like literally the ball was just sent 30 yards over the wide receiver's head. And
no fly zone, baby. Not on me.
They do the seatbelt like that. And
this is a no-fly zone. I'm like, Megatron's got 240 yards on you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Every time that happens, now the quarterback saw that, the receiver saw that, and they're about to take advantage of it. It is really funny because like my dad's always been like old school, and like every time he's like, why do they have to celebrate after every single stop? Like I don't understand. Every defensive stop, they're like, or like every single first down.
It's embarrassing.
Like it's like, all right, next play, and that's the funny thing is I'll never forget. There was a dude on the Giants, I think it was.
Oh.
And he was just like, first down, did the signal. The next play, he fumbles it out of the back of the end zone for a touchback, and they lose possession.
Right.
Like it's just
finish a possession. I think I understand if it's third down and you've completed a possession and now you want to say, hey, that's lockdown. But if you've given up 166 yards to Deshaun Jackson or CeeDee Lamb, and then all of a sudden you just happen to knock down a pass or a pass was out of his reach and you're like, not on me, not in this zone, you look really bad. And so that's the gist of it, guys. It's all performance-based. If you can act however you want, for the most part. Robinson Cano didn't even run down the first base line. He never did. Never. No. And we hardly cared until really never. We never cared.
Well, you did because you called him.
yeah, that's true. But at the same time, most people are like, "Oh, Robbie Cano was a great Yankee." They didn't care about the antics. Why? Because Robinson Cano with the Yankees was on a Hall of Fame trajectory. He was projecting to go into Monument Park and then chose to go to Seattle. Obviously gets popped for steroids. Unfortunate. But you guys get the point. Play just solves all of it. But let's actually tee it up. I know we've been here over 2 hours. Cam Schlittler's on the mound tomorrow. Cam Schlittler is a wild card. The Yankees chose him on the roster long-term here over Marcus Stroman. People said, why are they giving up that depth? The reason they gave up the depth is because they were choosing that man right there. And as more players, right, as Cruz gets healthy, as some players start to returns to the field, you're going to see more guys DFA'd. But Cam Schlittler stayed on this team, and the Yankees are buying into his future here in the short term, not just 2026 and beyond. So what do you think's happening tomorrow? I love Cam Schlittler. I think he's going to be much better than what people are expecting. He's not a polished product by any means. He's got to work on that slider. He's got to bury it. It can't hang the way it currently is. He's using it as a get-me-over pitch, and it'll be much better in the future. What do you see tomorrow against the Marlins?
I think this is a really good opportunity for him. I thought he had better control, even his last time out, than what we saw from Carlos Rodon. Mm-hmm. And you saw Rodon strike out 9 guys with not a lot of, not great control today, right? He still walked 5 batters, but I'm like, that's the thing. Like Cam, he'll walk guys. I think it'll be similar to the start, but I think he'll be more economical. I'm expecting Cam to go 5-6 innings and have a better start than Rodon did. And I think the Yankees, it feels like the Yankees during the day, the bats are even more alive. And I like their offense during the day games. So, yeah, I think tomorrow the Yankees win the game. They bounce back. And, I mean, they're going to look at it like, okay, well, we just won, 4 of the last 5 instead of, oh, well, we just started another win streak. You know what I mean? So yesterday sucked, but you come back tomorrow, you get a really good start out of a rookie, and you're able to deliver bullpen-wise on the offensive side. No one's going to care.
Yeah, and mind you, I know all the answers to these questions, but I want to ask them just for the simple point. Who's starting tomorrow for the Marlins?
Yuri Perez.
And what is he, right-handed or is he left-handed?
He's a righty, so
he's a righty. So who should
Rice.
Be playing? Mr. Ben Rice. Drop in the comment section, Ben Rice. Ben Rice. That is it. Only instruction. He should be starting tomorrow. There's no reason Paul Goldschmidt should touch the field against a righty. Paul Goldschmidt should start against lefties. The fact that Yuri Perez is the starter for the Marlins, we should see none other than Ben Rice out there. Should be very interesting to see what Boone does. I mean, there's no telling. Jake, any final thoughts?
Yeah, Ben Rice has an 822 OPS against righties, 242 batting average, and 12 of his 16 home runs have come against righties. So, like, again, are they amazing numbers? No, but he has a 351 on base as opposed to a 240 on base and a 188 batting average and a 675 OPS against lefties. He's basically very similar to Paul Goldschmidt. So, actually, he slugs more and has a better on-base percentage than Goldschmidt. So, anyway, those are my thoughts. Ben Rice, put in the comments section. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us for... Was this... How long is Interstellar? Isn't it like 2 hours and 20 minutes?
It's got to be long. I think it's... Interstellar's probably about 2:30. That would be my guess.
Okay. So, this is longer than Fan 4, which is in theaters. But... yeah, you guys stuck with us for 2 hours and 20 minutes. After
2 hours and 49 minutes, so not quite as long as Interstellar, but
okay, yeah, we're not. I'm not watching that anytime soon. I still got The Godfather 2 to watch. So,
you haven't seen Interstellar?
No, remember you?
Oh
told
my
me,
God!
You told me
Jake.
I saw Oblivion the other day.
You also haven't seen Top Gun, right?
Yeah, but I saw Tom Cruise in Oblivion because, fun fact, real quick before we leave. Oh, God. And I told you this. Mission Impossible, I felt like the biggest clown the other night because I was like, oh, guys, put Tom Cruise in the comment section because Mission Impossible, I'm going to go watch the last. No, you're not, you dipshit. It's not out. It's not out. It's in pre-order. So I got off the show and I was like, oh, I can't wait to watch the last Mission Impossible. And guess what, Gary? It said August 8th. And I was just heartbroken. So instead, I didn't remember what I watched. I think I watched Happy Gilmore 2, which I liked. And I watched Carry On last night.
You've seen Happy Gilmore 2, but you haven't seen Interstellar. Interstellar actually is probably a top 4 movie that's ever been made.
Damn.
It's incredible. It's an incredible movie.
Who's in that?
Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, I thought that. Yeah, I saw the one that it's kind of space futuristic, all of that. But yeah, it's called Oblivion, and it's got Tom Cruise in it, and it was okay. I mean, I wasn't like blown away by it, and I think Freeman is in it too, Morgan Freeman. I could be wrong, but anyway,
yeah,
yeah.
So drop Ben Rice in the comment section. Make sure you guys are subscribed. And if you can give the Yankee giveaway, Yankees jersey. And make sure if you haven't seen Interstellar, please don't be like Jake. Watch that movie. Excellent movie. Matthew McConaughey. Highly recommend. Drop Ben Rice in the comment section. He should be starting at first base tomorrow against Perez. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. I mean, I feel like we played 50 games in a row. And of course, like this video.